hopefully get a good clean break and get over, get a good position on the outside.
You got Antonio Fresu on board. Did you feel it was important to have a local jockey, or was that just the way it went?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing great. Antonio, he's been riding here. He's in the top 5, and he's a very aggressive jockey, and it just makes sense.
There's a bit less pressure from stall 14. It's not made your life too easy, has it?
Yeah, I mean, at least I'm not. You got some more room. You're not gonna get squeezed, so it's fine.
Well, wish you all the best, and thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Well, it'd be great if he could win, Carlos David. His first runner here, up-and-coming trainer with Zenden. He's one who'll go forward as well, probably. Although it's going to be difficult, as we said, for Antonio Fresu from that wide draw. This is Justin. Justin has been so tricky in the mornings. And you would have probably got to know Dusay Sakai a little bit, because he's been riding at all the local tracks.
Yeah, he's a lovely young kid, and he's been here. I think he based himself with Saeed. He rode the horse in Saudi Arabia, and he came over from Saudi just to get to know the tracks, and I think more to get to know Maidan. But fair play to the guy. He's gone to. I think he's ridden at all the tracks.
He's ridden at all 5 tracks.
I think he's ridden in Sharjah, in Al Ain, and Abu Dhabi. So he's been putting the work in, and he's been getting plenty of support from the local trainers. And he's certainly not the kind of money he's been racing for in Japan. But he rides very well. He knows his horse very well, and I think he's excited about having the opportunity to. I think on form he's got a little bit to find. With the others, but who knows, he might just run a place.
They seem to like him. There's a guy here, his name temporarily escapes me, who's a manager for Sheen Murphy, among other jockeys, when they go to Japan, and he told me he thinks he's the best of the Japanese in this race, Justin. He's very quirky, being by a fevre, but he's a closer as well. This is a race that Richie talked about, a good effort. I mean, he looked like he's home and gone. Canvas comes from a long way back to nab him on the line.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at this race, you'd have thought Canvas would probably be better going up to a mile. But like I say, I think they've been sort of questioning which sort of trip is his best. But we went very hard in front. And in fairness to Frankie's horse, good effort. It's quite possible he could reverse the placings today, because Frankie's in stall 1. He was in 13 that day. Although I don't believe he's going to have it as easy as he did. I think there's plenty of pace horses that are going to be sitting on his boot early on, and he's not going to have as easy a time as he did on Super Saturday.
It's quick enough to lead them up for a bit, I think, a couple of furlongs. We'll look at Yupon as well, and his one defeat, his only defeat so far in his career, which came in that Breeders' Cup sprint, for which he was sent off. The favourite, Whitmore won it, lovely old boy. Now, we've picked it up, obviously, as they come into the straight, so we've missed him getting crowded at the start. He did pretty well, actually, to finish 8th, only beaten 6 and a quarter lengths. He was bumped as well. It all went wrong for him. Quite an inexperienced horse. This was only his 5th start. Steve Asmussen's been working him out of the gates. They're obviously trying to get that sharpness early on, which he will need today.
Yeah, he's certainly going to need it today, and obviously a lot of these American horses, a lot of the racing in America, there's only a small field, and obviously in the bigger races you get bigger fields. So I think, the fact he's still only a 4-year-old, so he's still pretty inexperienced as opposed to some of these, hardened seasoned sprinters. We just saw him going out. He looks amazing, and I think his win 2 runs back in Saratoga was a really good time. I think he posted the time of 1:08. That's a very, very fast time. So, yeah, looking back at that race in the Breeders' Cup, it just didn't happen. He got crowded early. He looked like he was getting crowded up the straight there, and Joe knows him well. He's won on him twice. He rode him in the Breeders' Cup. So I think he'll be just hoping for a clean trip, really, with him.
Who wins it? It's so hard, isn't it?
I'm going to go with Yupon, because I think he does have the class. But you know what? There's been strange results all night. I wouldn't be surprised. I'll be rooting for Switzerland, but all Pat on canvas. So anyone in the home team, we'll be rooting for. But I think Yupon just has that little bit of class that will get him through.
Yeah, Yupon for me. If it goes to a closer, I quite like Justin. This is a very interesting edition of our Dubai Golden Shaheen. They're racing for $1.5 million.
Dubai Golden Shaheen. The gates are open, they're off and racing. Out wide, Zenden shows a stack of speed. Justin pushing up. Good effort with us. He is ridden off early. Matera Skies handy. Wildman Jack. Jalen Journey. Then came El Tarek. Switzerland out wide. Yopon couldn't go with the early speed. They were followed by Premier Star. Well back was Canvas. Followed then by Capano Kicking. And Red Lizelle back at the tail. But they burn off the back and Zenden shows the way. Down the side, Zenden out by a length over. Good effort. Wildman Jack working up wide. Around Justin. Then came Jalen Journey. Followed by Matera Sky. Switzerland, El Tarek canvassed. Then Yopon a mile back with Premier Star. Capano Kicking and Red Lizelle. They went 23.19 the first section. And Zenden is the leader for Antonio Freshos out by 4. Wildman Jack begins to stalk it. Followed by Good Effort. Switzerland is down the outside. Canvas is weaving a passage through. Red Lizelle is late down the outside. But Zenden clear inside the 200 metre mark. Red Lizelle begins to steam home with Canvas. But Zenden from the outside draw for Antonio Fresh, who has stolen the golden Shaheen. It is Zenden winning well. Second in will be steaming home. Red Lizelle ahead of Canvas. Then Capano Kicking. Wildman Jack. Yopon. Then came El Tarek Switzerland. They were followed next of all across the line was Premier Star. The winner has come off across the line. Hopefully he's okay. They were followed next of all then by Justin. Well back in the run was Jalen Journey, followed by Matera Sky and Good Effort. Stand by after the result of race number 6. Zenden has won, and then unfortunately it has gone amiss after the line. So a very, very bittersweet moment here for Connection. Zenden has taken up the Dubai Golden Shaheen, a great moment for Antonio Freshu, which has quickly soured immediately after the race. Antonio's up on his feet, he's okay. But unfortunately the horse has gone amiss straight after the wire here, after the Dubai Golden Shaheen, sponsored by Golf News. We stand by for all the numbers to come up. Red Lizelle has steamed home down the outside and will pick up second. I think we had Canvas for third. 109.01 is the winner's time as we stand by.
What a performance by Zenden. First time in Dubai for trainer Carlos Davies. He's only had a license a couple of years. Antonio Fresu, fortuitous spare ride, has absolutely smoked them from stall 14. That was amazing.
Unbelievable. Delighted for Antonio. We count him as one of our own. He's and from 14, like I say, he was the all speed. He was the speed in the race. The only worry was where he was out there, but he was able to get over, get across, and save him, fill him up around the bend. You know, you could see the horse was wanting to go a bit quicker. Antonio was always able to just fill his lungs up and kicked him off the turn, and very, very impressive.
Yeah, Antonio's come and shipped, as you saw there, after the line. I think Antonio is okay. We're not sure about Zenden. His possibility, he's suffered an injury, which is why we don't have any winners enclosure pictures. Doesn't look good at all, I'm afraid, for the winner, but an amazing performance all the same. But this could be very bittersweet for Connections. I don't think we've seen a Golden Shaheen one like that for a number of years. Red Lizelle has run on to be second. Canvas has run very well in third for Pat Dobbs.
Yeah, I mean, they were always playing catch up, and like you say, Antonio was always able to fill his horse up round the bend. You know, it got him to pick up the straight, and like I say, once he pressed the button, it was a matter of who was going to finish second and third. And like I say, Canvas, you know, just doesn't have that natural speed. And you know, the American sprinters have showed in the past how dominant they are in this race. And like I say, it was a very good performance. We're not sure what happened to Antonio. Hopefully he's all right and he got up, but whether the horse jinked or not, I'm not quite sure. But he seemed to avoid few of the guys that were coming past him.
Yeah, I think we were hearing that the winner's broken down. I'm not sure how badly. Antonio, he looked okay from our pictures, because he had the whole field coming after him. It was a scary thing to see him sitting there on the track like we did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw him sort of roll around and seem to sit up. But, like I say, hopefully he's okay. We're not quite sure. The news hasn't come through, but what they're saying is that the horse maybe broke down after the line. Hopefully he hasn't gone down and it's nothing fatal. Like I say, it was a great great performance, and it's just
ゴールしまし
just
た。
put a sour taste in the victory
ジョッ
really.
キー喜ん
Very,
で
very
ます
bittersweet for Connections. Owners LLP Performance
止まった
and trainer Carlos David, as I mentioned, there they are celebrating what was an absolutely
あ、ガチ
stunning
ガチ
victory.
話ですか？
It really was. Second of the night for
アメーバドー
America.
ピング
And we obviously don't have anyone in the winners enclosure. Canvas has gone into third. What on earth happened to your partner? Need to see the race back. It was never sighted, was he? I assume you missed the break again.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure because I was just obviously
だ
Zenden
って
was
なん
the
か
speed
向こ
horse
うの
and
なんか
we were kind of we
海
saw
外の
him break
G1
and we
と
were
か
just sort of
本当
wondering whether he would get over in
なん
front
か
of
アホみたいに安い
Frankie. Frankie was trying to be forceful on
ゴ
good
ロ
effort.
ゴロあ
but
るでしょ。
This horse had far too much early gate speed, and I think that has been his key to his victories in the States. But like I say, I wasn't really paying too much attention to anything behind because, I knew going around the bend that when Antonio was filling up, he was always getting a breather into his horse. He was always going to kick off that turn, and he did it, and it was a devastating performance. And like I say, our thoughts are with the Connections because we're not sure how badly the horses broke down. And well, like I say, I saw Antonio sit up, so hopefully he's all right. He seemed to dodge the rest of the pack that were coming over him, so I'm not quite sure exactly where it happened.
No, Stephen's trying to get something official. If anyone's watching us in America and wondering why we
ああ、
don't
日
interview the
本
vets,
馬
we're
は
not
と
allowed
りあえ
here in
ず
Dubai. They're
負
quite
け
strict with
と
who
い
we
う
can
こ
and
と
can't
です
speak to.
ね。
So that is why. But yeah, very weird
あれ、レッ
circumstances
ド
to
ル
be,
ゼルやっ
to be
たんや。
honest here in Dubai.
全然
We can hopefully show you the race back though and see where some of the
全然あれ誰やって俺マテラスかいかと思って
finished.
マテラが後ろから来る
Yupon,
かと思って
among some of the other fancied horses, Matera
あ
Sky
レッドルゼ
hasn't
ル
made
2
the top
着
six either. Wildman Jack's run a good race in fourth for Fernando Hara. Capano kicking for William Buick has finished fifth. Altaric in sixth. No fairy tale for Switzerland today, unfortunately. But they've had a pretty good night anyway at Zabeel Stables. Let's see if we can take the race
今
again.
ねちょ
This
っ
is
と情
the
報
closing
収集
stages.
中なんでね
And the winning Connections, absolutely delighted. And if you were watching our winning line Dubai World Cup preview, Chad Summers, who was also with us on air today, was so keen on Zenden. He said the horse, since coming over here, he
こ
said he's
れ
been shining like a
JRA オッズ
copper.
かな
His
JRA
whole
単
coat
勝オッ
had
ズだ
changed. He
と
just loved it here in Dubai. And he felt he
13
was
番
sitting
人
on this
気
big effort
4
despite
番
the
人
draw.
気
Yeah,
7番
we
人
won't
気
give it
大
to
荒
Chad
れ
because we'll just boost his ego a little bit more. But he has been on about me all week. He's been on about this horse, and he said the unfortunate thing was
2
that he
着
was
レ
drawn
ッド
in
でしたね
14,
あ
but
れ
he
俺
didn't
マ
see
テラ
any
かなって
horse
一緒
that
に思っ
had
て
the
たんですけ
speed
ど
this horse has, and he clearly showed it there. It
13
was
番
very
人気って
impressive.
ドベ
Great
2じ
for
ゃないですか
Connections, like you say. Carlos David, I think, has only been training
A few
a
years.
short time, and young guy. It's great. It's a great story for these people, and they've come
で
over.
も全然でした
Great
ね
spare right
日
for
本馬の
Antonio.
前
I
に
think
行く馬がもう
his
全
agent
然で
Michael
したね
Adolphson has worked very hard to get him on some nice
マ
rides
テラ
tonight,
も
and
コパノも
could be the start of what is a really good night. Hopefully he's all right, and as he has military law
Yeah.
later on in the
Yeah,
evening. So
no, I think he's okay. We haven't seen him walk back in, but he looked like he avoided all those hooves, which was very, very scary indeed. And Antonio's been brilliant, much like you, much like Tig. He's so helpful with us. He's sat here and done broadcasts with us in the past, and this is his first Group 1 win ever, isn't it?
I wouldn't like to comment
Don't
on
think
that.
he's even
I'm
had
not
one in
sure
Italy.
In Italy or not. Judging by Veronica's reaction over there, I'm not quite sure. There was, but there'll be a lot of people happy for him. He's a great kid. He's still only very young, and he's in the short time he's been in Dubai. He's really made an impact here. So he's a very good rider. And it seems to be all these good riders from Italy are all from Sardinia.
And that's bizarre, isn't it? Andrea Razzini, Frankie, Antonio.
Yeah, I think I need to visit Sardinia because I think they must all be small and they must be sitting on horseback at a young age. But they all seem to be from there, and there's a great bunch of I think look in France had a very good emergence of jockeys, but in recent years the Italians have
ドバイター
seemed
フ
to
で
have
す
come to the
ね
fore with their jockeys.
0時半から
They're doing it worldwide. Like Umberto Rispoli has been doing it around the world. He's now Umberto is in California now, and Mirko De Muro is in Japan. Antonio and Frank, and, still the godfather of them all is Frankie Dettori at the tender age of 50. But Antonio's just arrived on the world stage, so good for him.
Yeah, he really has arrived on the world stage. That was a superb ride to get across from gate 14 on a very willing partner in Zenden, the winner of our Golden Shaheen. As I said, we will try and get information to you as soon as we can on Zenden. There's not a lot at the moment to be found. But we also have a trophy presentation, of course, for the race. Just looking back at the night so far, it's been a very good night. Not so much the last race, but you deserve a bit of credit for the victory of Secret Ambition earlier, because you got him started, didn't you? His first few races were under you.
I think I've won 7 on him. So yeah, I mean, if any horse deserved a big night and a big success on a big night, it's him. He's an absolute legend. I mean, you know, the owner Nasser Askar, I think it was the first horse he ever owned. It's a funny story because we had 2 horses at the same time at the sale were him and North America. And they were trying to sell North America to Nasser, and he wouldn't have it because he was a gelding. He wanted a full horse, and this horse came around, and he just, from day one, he's just been very easy to train. Once again, he's just credit to everybody at Zabeel, because he's an 8-year-old, and he's put up his career best performance, and that just shows you the care and attention that goes in, you know, the hard work that goes in behind the scenes at the stable. You know, there's a lot of effort that goes on just to get these horses to pitch up on one night. This horse just thrives on racing. You know, there was a worrying time, you know, because Tig had to really work hard from the gate, you know, at the beginning of the race, but he's just a horse that will never lie down. He's another Pochard, well, he's a classier version of him. He just wants to win, and that will to win, and it's great for everybody.
We'll just get a little bit of news from Stephen, if we can.
Yeah, first thing to say is that Antonio Fresso's perfectly fine. He's here, ready to collect his trophy, a little bit shook up and naturally doesn't want to come on camera. But, yeah, I'm afraid it's not going to be good news for Zenden. He suffered a pretty serious accident there after the line, and I imagine the outcome will not be positive. But taking a shine off what was an awesome performance, Antonio saying there that he was feeling extremely sorry for the horse. And indeed, Connections, Carlos Davies' first ever Grade 1 Group 1 victor, was soon turned to despair following what happened after the line. But Antonio Fresso's all fine, and he'll be no problem taking up his mounts later on, including on military law.
Well, good to hear that Antonio is okay and will hopefully be fit to ride later on. Because if you have any sort of spill, you do have to go and see a doctor.
Yeah, you naturally have to go to the doctor. Well, the doctor will. I've just seen Antonio over there. He's waiting to collect his trophy, so he seems okay. But yeah, naturally, the doctor will come to see you. The medics are quick on the track anyway. But you know, I'm not quite sure how it works here, as opposed in the UK. It's you normally have a quick concussion test, but you'll know, and the jocks know everybody inside out, so we'll know if one jockey's slightly concussed or not. You know, the way they're talking.
You know each other.
You kind of know their mannerisms, and I remember Harry Bentley had a spill a few years back in Abu Dhabi, and coming out the gates, and I sit next to Harry in Abu Dhabi, and I was talking to him, and
he's
concussed. You know, he's talking in different language. You know in someone so well. And that's what we do. Look out for each other, and at the same time, it's on us because we've got to go on the track with him, so they'll know and keep an eye on him, and hopefully he's fine. But like I say, I think it was luckily for him, it was after the line that it happened. Horses easing down, slowing down in the race. So, like I say, it's hopefully just a spill, and he's landed on his backside. And yeah, it's on sand, so it's not as painful as it is when you land on grass.
Really? I would have thought it'd be more painful on the sand.
It depends how you roll.
Fast you're going as
Depends
well.
how firm it is as well.
Well, very weird circumstances here if you're just tuning in. Zenden, very, very impressive winner of our Golden Shaheen, but has sadly suffered an accident after the line. I remember this happening at Royal Ascot a few years ago with a horse called Thomas Chippendale, or Sir Thomas Chippendale, who won for Robert Ogden, won something like the Hardwick, and then never made it to the winner's enclosure. It was very weird. Up until that, it's been a very enjoyable Dubai World Cup fixture here at Meydan. We've had now 2 victories for America. They've taken out both of the sprints. Extravagant Kid took the Alquoise, bit of a surprise. We've had a victory for Godolphin with Rebels Romance. We had a win for France in the Kahela. And of course, we had a win with Subjectivist in the Gold Cup. It was a nice surprise, I think, for Mark.
Apart from Antonio on the night, is probably the one that was received best in the jockeys room, because it was Joe Fannin as well, and he's probably
really his first ride here.
I'm not
It Says it
But
before, but it's his first ride.
The
But that
fact
seems
you probably
unbelievable.
won't ever meet a nicer guy than Joe Fanning. So, and I was having a good chat to him, earlier in the night. And this horse won the Pre-Royal Oak. I think he had his. I believe Joe didn't have his first Group 1 winner for. I think a few years back he won the wasn't the Dewhurst, was it, or something? It might have been the Dewhurst.
この喋ってる人もよくわからんすけどね。誰か
Yeah,
すら。
Last Lion, I think.
Yeah, and look, like I say, you won't
左の
see
女の人なん
meet
な
a
んですかね。
nicer guy.
日
Great
本に
fella,
例えたら。
and he's still riding at the top
細
of
江
the
さんっす
game.
か
And
ね。
we talk about Frankie being 50. I think Joe is 50 or he's turning 50. There's
細江さ
there's a
ん
lot
的ポジションですかね。
to go
この
on
人
with experience, and he keeps himself fit and
それは
healthy.
と
He's
て
been a
も
major part of
どこでもあり
Mark Johnson's
中
team
京
for
でもあり
many,
ますよ。
many years. So I think the last winner Mark Johnson had out here, certainly World Cup night, was
中京だってありますよ。明日見せますよ。
way back in Olivier Pellier rode it, or did
Yeah,
Kieran
it's a
ride it? Or
long
what?
time
Yeah.
ago. I think it was Kieran Fallon. And then I looked up Mark's record in Dubai, and I think his last winner here was Nado Shibales. I think it was like
この
2004.
この女の人重くさ足組んでんのがわかるというね。
You're quite surprised how they don't seem to whether he doesn't bring
もうなんか、あ、
big
鈴木
team
さん、
or
鈴
he
木さん
doesn't
的
bring his
ポジシ
better
ョンですね、
horses
この
out.
人
But
じゃ。
yeah, like I say, Joe has been a major part of our
ドバイ
program.
の
He's been
鈴
there
木さんです
26
ね。
years. I thought myself at Zabeel, 16 years, a long time. He was telling me he was there for 26 years. I think since
後ろ
Mark started
あ、
training.
この
So yeah,
この
it's
か
great.
あの
and
今
it's thoroughly deserved. And
喋ってる
like I
男
say,
の人の
apart
後
from
ろ
Antonio winning his first Group 1, if it is his first Group
あ
1, I'm
ー
not
この
quite
人
sure.
たち
But like yeah, Joe Fanning winning on the night has made everybody's day in the way.
Yeah, and your good friend Tygo Shea as well. Is your
この人たち
Oh, yeah,
今日あれですよ、
You're
祝勝会です
travelling
よ。
together.
I
You
forgot
forgot
about
about him.
yeah, I'm his driver now.
ジョジョ園ドバイ
Yeah,
ドバイ
so
店で
obviously, yeah, Tig as well.
祝勝会あります
Tig's
よ。
had
この人
winners
たち
World Cup night before. I think that's his. I'm not
めっ
sure.
ちゃ東真
First
一
thoroughbred.
First
Yeah.
thoroughbred, so
ど
yeah, I think all the
この人
second
ドバイの
from
東
TVs
真
is
なん
a
です
Group
か
1 thoroughbred winner, so
喋ってる
hopefully,
男の人
I think he's got a good chance in the next race.
渋いとこついてきます
First
ね。
contact ran really well first time out for him. I think he's got a bit to find, but yeah, I think hopefully he can get on the Group 1 board before he
多分今焼肉屋のどこの焼肉屋にしようかっていう
still a lot
これ
younger than
会
I
議
am,
してますよ、
but
多
yeah,
分
I've
この
got
人たち、
many
こ
more
の
years
3人。
driving him around the place anyway.
Well, it'll be a nice drive home. He'll be pretty happy later on, you imagine. Tygo Shea, of course, took our Group 2 Godolphin Mile earlier on with Secret Ambition. Well, it won't be long before Connections go and receive their trophy for the Golden Shaheen.
だからこっ
We've
か
obviously
ら
had a bit of
こっから
a
つかレ
delay.
ースの
I think
間
we're
があ
also
れ
going
な
to
ん
have
です
a
よね。
presentation now for the
退屈なんですよ
sponsors
ね、正直言って。
here this evening at Maidan. We've got a very loyal band of sponsors on the Dubai World Cup programme that come back year on year, so that might be what we're
まあそうっす
we're waiting for.
ね。
But we get into the sort of
高松
really
な
big
高
races
松
now,
宮
don't
記
we, in
念の
the Dubai Turf and
あれ話しても
the
します
Shima
か
and the World Cup, who have held their prize money statuses
もう
pretty well. Still going
あ
for 4
の
million in the
馬
Dubai
は
Turf.
絞
Not
れ
too
た
bad,
ん
is
で
it?
すよ。
Yeah, we're down to
あとは
the
買い方
big
なんです
three, as they call it now. The Turf, the Shima, and then ultimately the World Cup. So it's always nice. And in recent years we had I think I'm not sure if it was before the Golden Shaheen or after, but we had the opening
Yeah.
ceremony.
Yeah, you got a
in
little
many
break.
years. You had a break, and then it was like
ね
bang, bang, bang. You know,
あっちはね
solid
天
Group
気予報
ones
だ
with
と
solid
午
Group
後
one
から
horses
雨
in
なんですよ
there.
ね。
Yeah, it's a little bit different this
午後
season,
から雨
but
な
we're
ん
very, very lucky
で
that Dubai racing and the country of the UAE have managed to keep going and with all the testing and everything, and we've managed to get through the season. And,
ガ
everyone
ス
in
と
one
ドバイ
piece,
店あ
so,
るんすか
it's testament to everybody at the ERA.
それかあれかもしれないです
Everybody
ね
on
ガストや
court
った
at
ら
Maidan had to present
あれ
a
デリバリー
negative
頼んでホテ
PCR
ルで
results, which came within
やるかもしれ
48
ないですね
hours. They actually set up a
祝勝会
testing centre here. As Richie says, Sam Taylor, Sam Shinsky, and the whole team there at the ERA have done an amazing job to keep us racing. It has not been easy at all. This is the Sponsors Appreciation Awards that I was mentioning earlier on. DP World will be sponsoring the Dubai Turf, which comes
Dubai-
up. Golden
Dubai-
Horse sponsored the
ド
Golden
バイの賞
Shaheen.
金高いレース
You can see everything being
買って
quite socially distanced, since the dots on
ガ
the
ガスト
ground.
で祝勝
We
会
have new management, Dubai Racing Club. Sheikh Rashid bin Dalmouk Al Maktoum, who's a very enthusiastic owner, had a Super Group 1 winning filly in Ritzina a few years ago. He's taken over, assisted by Mohammed Isa Al Adhab. So it's a bit of a changing of the guard here, isn't it? But the new board seem very enthusiastic, and they've got a lot of experience in racing. Mohammed Isra Al-Adab was telling me he was the first ever Emirati steward.
Well, I didn't know that, but yeah, I mean, like you say, there's a change in the guard. Sheikh Rashid Dalmuk has now taken over the reins, and yeah, I mean, look, they're steeped in racing history, aren't they? The family, and I think his brother Sheikh Juma has had many good horses here in Dubai as well as in Europe. And I think his younger brother Sheikh Ahmed as well as you started going down the race.
それ馬主のすることじゃないですよ。
Yeah, it's look, it's all changed, so we'll see, and hopefully you know, there's new challenges.
それね、一人でひっそりとやるようなやつじゃない
I
です
think
か、それ。
hopefully there's a new direction, a new way they go about racing here.
Yeah. I think there will be some changes that come in over the closed season. But so this season, it's mainly just been about keeping us going, keeping racing, keeping everybody safe. They've done an absolutely tremendous job. It helps that Maidan's such a big venue, I think. It's quite easy to spread people out and things. And our Dubai Turf is the next race coming up, which has two Group 1 winners in it, which are Lord Glitters and Lord North. They probably set the standard, don't they? But Charlie Appleby has a nice one with Al Sahel here.
Yeah, and I gather they were slightly disappointed. I think they expected a little bit more from Al Sahel.
カズ君にも一応声かけたんですけどね、あいつ来ないですね。
My worry about this race is and the trial,
なんかあいつたまにね、たまにあいつね、突拍子もないことをメッセージを送ってくるんでね、非常に困惑するんですよ。今週もあって、いや、なんかわけわからん時があって、
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a stronger
なんか
pace
俺
on
と
today.
デキさんすごく優しいですよ
Lord
ね
North brings some
はって思
solid
っ
Group 1
て
form, you know, from Europe and you know, ran a
何の
solid race in
前触
America.
れもな
At
し
the
に
Breeders' Cup in the
いきなり
Breeders'
それが
Cup
送られ
turf,
て
I
くるん
think
ですよ俺に
behind Tamara.
はって
So yeah, there's I think the locals are going to have to step up their
勝
game.
手わけ
Lord North
俺
does
ね
bring
ワンカ
probably
ップ飲まんからわ
the
から
most
んすよ
recent
ね
solid form into it.
てか日本酒がダメなんで
I'm quite keen on Al Sahel
You
here. I
want
just
him
thought he
up to
shaped
the
as the
Domino
best horse in that
Storm
Jebel Hatter, but he's going to need to settle a little bit better early on, for sure. Lord North, though, won that Prince of Wales Estates in the form of a really good horse, beating Adib, who, of course, went on and won a Champion Stakes and was a dual Group 1 winner in Australia. So
答えに困るようなことを言ってくるからね
Frankie Dettori
Yeah, I
rides
think
Lord North,
Adib
of course.
ran this morning, early hours of this morning. He ran against, or he was second. He put up another great
それ
performance
シラフで
behind
打っと
Very
んのか
Elegant,
っ
I
つっ
think.
たらシ
Yeah,
ラ
those
フ
two
っ
have
つ
been
う
sort
か
of
ら
locking horns for the last year. Look at that amazing view.
多分
The
多分
Royal Bridge
激
here
広
at
だ
Mayo, which I ran over once.
なんかそういうわかりますねでもあいつインスタで
Hope you only ran over
スタバ
it
カー
on
ド買ったのあ
foot,
げ
you
て
didn't
ま
run over
し
in
た
the car.
よ
No, I'm not important enough to get past the
No,
roadblocks in my car.
Yeah, it's an
スタバ
amazing
カードを
the
買ったの
whole
を
place is
アッ
just,
プし
you
てます
know,
よ
and we don't see it all lit up until really World Cup night, and it's an amazing splendor.
あ
And
の
you can
前
see in
配
the
信した
backdrop
時に
there, you know,
カ
downtown
ズ君と
Dubai.
2人だけですよ
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first
Yeah.
came, you couldn't. That was just desert. So
Yeah.
you'd look for the trade center, and that was
あの
your
黒部
focal
に
point. And you know, then we
あの
had the
細
Emirates
沼ちゃん
Towers,
おるでしょ
and now we've got the Burj Khalifa, and yeah,
あ
it's
の子
just
にね
fantastic sight. It's
なんだっ
an
け
amazing backdrop from
アップル
Maidan.
の
What is, you know,
あ
probably
なん
one
か
of the
あの
most fantastic,
Bluetooth で
amazing
飛ば
race
す
courses I've ever been to.
イヤホン
And facilities for jockeys. I think you've probably, as your
Yeah,
sauna and things been closed this year due to
調
COVID.
べた
They've
ら
been
3万
closed,
ぐらい
as
するん
I
ですよ
think they have been around the world. I think that's a wise
3万ぐらい
decision. Look, most of the jockeys have been able to keep busy. We've been riding out or exercising at home. Or
来週の
I
タ
think a
レ
lot
マン
of
を打
gyms
ち合
are
わせし
open
よう
back
と思った
open
け
in
どヘン
Dubai,
リー
so
来ない
it's been quite handy. But
舐めてますね。
certainly the saunas and the steam rooms are closed.
言
I
っ
mean,
とき
we've
ま
got
すわ
amazing facilities for jockeys. We've got a restaurant that you know would fit perfectly in downtown. You know, it's the catering service, and we're just very you know we're spoiled the way we're looked after here. It's an amazing facility.
Yeah, it is an absolutely
Up
beautiful
to the
facility.
airport,
It's been a bit
yeah.
underused this evening. Of course,
Hot.
it has the capacity to welcome 80,000 guests, but obviously we are behind closed doors, and it looks like we will be for the remainder of the UAE season, which does continue until April the 9th. And you announced earlier on this week that you'll be going freelance from next year. It felt like the end of an era.
Yeah, an end of an era. Look, it wasn't a decision that was very easy for me. I was contemplating it towards the end of last year. Obviously, look,
ちょうど話しとったよね。今週わけのわからんメッセージを送ってくるし。
You know, when I first came to Dubai, every yard was owned by Maktoum family horses.
細沼ちゃんに3万ぐらいするやつ送るしとかって。
And the horses were just constantly Maktoum family horses, and the vision that His Highness Sheikh Mohammed had for many years was that we'd have privately owned horses into the racing here. And I think Zabeel, when I first went there, was 16 years ago. We had 100 plus horses that were all Maktoum family owned horses. You know,
疲れてへんスタバに行く体力があるから疲れてない彼は。どうせあれやろカズくん、スタバカード誰かにあげるんやろ俺すぐわかるけど。
You know, but with come that comes headaches, you know, for them because
あれ誰かにあげるようやろ。
You know, you answer to one man. You've got, you know, I could see it coming. There was a lot of, you know, Satish was getting a lot of headaches from owners wanting certain jockeys, and you know, he's backed me all the way. And it just came to a stage where, you know, I was getting frustrated. Obviously,
スタバカードって他の人とかぶりそうなんやんな。マジで自分用なん。そんなに行くのスタバに。俺全然行かへん。実は。あのね、例えば、コーヒーだったら、うちの近所に知り合いの兄ちゃんがやってるコーヒー屋さんがある。そこがめちゃくちゃうまくて、コーヒーに関してはそこでいいんだ。そうなん、俺絶対誰かに送るやつを買うたんだこいつって思ったよ。
It wasn't the way I wanted to go out, but look, I went into it and I sat down with the boss on Tuesday, and you know, we had a great chat for about, I think, 5 minutes.
That's right. Now, I saw that. I got to know that.
The other 55 minutes is what I usually do with him. Is when we have a coffee, just talk about general things that are going on in the world. And he's been a great friend, great supporter of mine, not only mine, racing, and my family as well. And it was a tough decision, but it's a fresh start. And, look, 16 years is a long time. A lot of marriages don't last that long. I think I didn't live at home for 16 years when I was, you know, I think I left home at 15 to get into racing. So, yeah, it's been an amazing place. You know, the one thing I wanted to remain is that I went into it, I go out of it the same way I went in, as a, you know, huge respect for the man, the whole team, and we parted on very, very good terms. And who knows, those owners that probably didn't want me this year will be wanting me next year when they can't have me.
They probably will. That's exactly how it works in racing. Let's hear from Stephen.
Yeah, joined by Michael Adolson, who's just experienced the highs and lows of racing in one moment. Of course, agent to Antonio, but I suppose a good thing Antonio's fine, but pretty sad what happened to the horse. But it was a great race that he won there.
Yeah, he rode a beautiful race. He did exactly what he was supposed to do.
スターバックスコーヒーといってね、
you take the bitter with the sweet a lot in this game, and
有名なのがね、白ノワールっていう、白ノワールっていう上にソフトクリームがどっぷり乗ったデニッシュパンがね、有名なの。
My heart goes out to the connections, and I just hope that you know, we can have something more positive to look forward to tonight.
Hopefully Carlos stays as well. This can still prove to be a springboard to his training career. Very young man who obviously prepared this horse to perfection tonight.
白ノワールっていうね、白ノワールっていう丸い真ん中にソフトクリームがデーンって乗った食べ物が有名なお店があるの。
Yeah, it was a beautiful ride. I would say that though. He did
それ
exactly what he was
が
supposed to do on that horse. He got him out. He got him nice and relaxed on the front end. He rode the turn beautifully. He went for home on the corner and put space out. And then he took care of him all the way home. He knew he had one. So it's one of those occurrences you never want to happen. They sometimes do. You have to face reality sometimes. And you just hope that there's less of that.
この人の段かなんですか。 もしかして。マジっすか？あかんっすよね。オフセで競馬やってるとかね。あかんっすよね、この人。
That horse has been knocking on the door for a long time in the States, running
ま
against
だ
some
消
of the
防
best
団
horse
入って
trainers
ない
in America.
入ってるん
America's
ですか
had,
この
I
人
think,
は。
3 or 4 seconds in the race the last few years, so it was nice for us to get one in.
Rebels Romance might well be heading to America after his demolition job in the Derby.
Yes, he was very impressive, and in talking to William afterwards, he was saying that just he was very powerful and within himself. And he's still a shell of a horse. He's still figuring it out. And that's encouraging to see for a gelding. So since he is a gelding, I wouldn't be sure he'd go to America. But I mean, he's more of a horse to look forward to next year. But if they do, then that means that Charlie is confident he can handle it.
あ、マジでデキさんちの
Hopefully we're in for a better end to the card than we've had just the last half an hour or so.
ドバイいますよこの人。
Thank you to Michael Adolphson with that update.
皆さんのオフセで皆さんのオフセでドバイで今競馬満喫してますよ。消防団入ってないですかこの人。あかんっすね。
In a $1.5 million race. These are the results
自分たちのね。
Canvas has shown that he is a sprinter to be reckoned with. It's only his first season sprinting. It's only his third choice sprinting. I'm going to say he's a better version of drafted.
Yeah, I believe it, you know, once they, it's very difficult because like I say, the first 2 runs when you're here, they were toying with distances with him. I think Doug now will have a good season, a full-out campaign, and train, and you train the sprinters different to the way you train any other horse. So I think he's a horse certainly. He's showed himself there as the leading sprinter for the UAE. And I think you'll see him, and they do tend to improve as time goes on. So I think he'll get stronger and fitter. And once Doug has a full campaign at this horse as a sprinter, I think we'll see some good things and big things to come from him.
The program's just lovely. Once you've got a kind of top horse, you can just pick your race. You've got the Dahu Sprint, you've got the Dubawi, you've got the Alshin Dagger. You've got the Mahabal Shamal, you're back here for the Shaheen. Easy.
野球地マジっすか？安養寺野球地されるんすか？デキさんところの人たちから。
Their campaign
マ
and
ジっ
their
すか？
program book is mapped out for them. So
や
it's
ばい
a
っすね。
trainer to train the lower rated
ドバイ
horses
豪
because
遊
you
がバレ
can
て。
place them a lot more better, but it's a lot harder finding certain races for them. But like I say, those better sprinters. And the good thing of the racing here in the UAE is that, or certainly in Dubai, they're quite well spaced out. So it gives horses time to recover. And as we've seen in many years, Ronaldo was still racing here at 11. You know, and the likes of, you know, we've
これいかんかったらあれやでリアルにカズくんの家野球されるで。
They race time between races
カズくんちの
and
カズ
they
く
have
ん
a full
ち
summer off as well.
リアルに
You know, they have time to
今住んで
recover.
るところじゃなく
And
て
we, you know, I think
あなた
people
が
that
本来
come
帰ると
racing
こ
get attached to them a bit better. You know, you know, who knows? Canvas
Yeah,
might be the
that's-
next Ronaldo, where the fans really get
Yeah.
behind
Yeah,
him
that's-
because
じゃない
he's going to be here for a long time, God willing. You know.
Nah, he'll never be as popular as Reynaldo because Reynaldo had the name.
俺は
It's
ね
a cool name. That helps.
ほんまさん出らんからね
Obviously, look, the late Sheikh Rashid.
全然安楽死だって
After Man United football players or something to do with the Man United
うわ
team. And
マジ
yeah,
か
as an Arsenal fan, I
マ
found
ジ
it
喜
very
ん
hard.
でる場合じゃないぞこれ
to ride them. I think
そ
we
れ
had
マジ
Tevez the
叙々苑
Tiger,
で祝勝会する場合じゃないぞ
Captain
これ
Rio, with many going back, and then the Arabians
これ
were
葬
Van
式やん
Nistelrooy,
け
Ryan Giggs,
Wayne
and
Rooney
you know,
wasn't
they were
there.
葬式屋で
It was
この
amazing
安養
times,
寺の
and,
住職
I
が
think we had
おったんかもしれ
Stadium
ん
of Dreams was one Champions
だ
League.
話
We had,
つながる
they
でし
were
ょ
like I say, it was just very hard for me as an
話つなが
Arsenal
り
fan
ます
to
よ
be
ね
going past a winning post on them, all named after Man United players or
安
anything
楽
to
死
do with Manchester
全然
United.
安楽死
Yeah, you got used to it in the end. Well, we're nearly on to
Wow,
Dubai
Magica.
Turf, which is coming up next. It is, as we said, a pretty strong renewal. Although you usually have slightly more Group 1 winners than 2 in it.
これ
But they've
きつ
done a
い
very
っ
good
す
job to get
ね
the horses that they have here. Nothing probably though of the caliber of Almond Eye, who of course won this for Japan a couple of years ago.
きつい
It's
わ
worth $4 million
Like
Dubai Turf.
仮に
And
馬券
we can get a
取っ
little
て
bit
も
more
なんか
information on it
これ
from
聞くと
Stephen,
き
who's
つい
been
っす
very
ね
busy this evening getting all the interviews. And We can also
カズくんちの家焼くとか発想がおかしい。
get
どういう
some
幕
more World Cup memories, can we?
いや、それ準備段階やない
We
です
can
か、
hear
完
from
全な
Doug Watson on that.
野
or-
球
No, I
打ち
think
の
we're just going to concentrate
野球打
on
ちの
the
準備やない
Dubai
ですか、
turf,
完
which is
全
a
に。
pretty multicultural cast. We've got horses from Bahrain, from England. Here's Stephen with more.
うわ、安楽死はきついな。
Three cracking races to end tonight's card then the Dubai Turf.
多分降りると思いますよ。海外もやっぱ馬保険あると思いますよ。クラブ馬も保険入るんですよ。俺取られましたもん。2歳になって取られるんで、DMM のエールトゥヘブンと、あとヒローの覇気、これ2歳なんで、保険料払いましたよ。そうそう、今ね、この配信初のね、2桁です。この配信初のなんと、2桁もなんか、競馬ファンの方がですね、いつもこの3人でゲームしたりし、ね、バレーの試合見ながらくっちゃべっとるのに、なんと競馬だと2桁に届くという。すごい、やっぱり競馬はスケールが違う。
I think it's the right thing to do. Look, we never like to see horses that are, they've put such an effort in, and they, unfortunately, I don't know if it's fatal or it's how bad the injury was, but he broke down after the line, and yeah, I think it was unfortunate for all connections that they've missed their time in collecting trophies or whatever, but I'm sure what the money that goes in the bank account will be something to compensate it.
Yeah, but still they're going to be pretty upset. People get so attached to their horses, they really do.
活動費が出てくるんじゃねっていうぐらい。
Connections. So we move on though to our $4 million Dubai turf. He's called the Dubai
ドバイワールドカップになると。
It's over the slightly weird trip of 1,800 meters. It used to be Nara Shibra. It was 1777 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I still think of it as the Dubai duty free.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do.
With some exceptional horses, and it was always probably the most competitive race on the night, if not the most exciting. I know in recent years it kind of, when we had the Tapita originally, a lot of the horses would defect from the World Cup and run on the turf because they felt it was a similar surface. We've got to look. I don't think it's the strongest renewal of the race, but it's still ultra competitive.
Where's Tig's whip? Oh, it's on
一
the side.
緒じゃない。一緒じゃない。
That might be an
こ
issue.
れ一緒じゃない。
This is Courthouse.
民族衣
Courthouse is
装
a
みたい
pace
なやつ、
angle
向こ
in
うの。
here. He's actually run two really good
一緒
races
じゃ
at
ない。
Carnival. He ran Jebel Ali.
確か
He did
に
not like that
コロ
one.
ナ
He
心
missed the
配だ
break
か
and
ら
wasn't happy in the Jebel Ali mile.
医者
Then
いる
ran
か
a
もしれ
belter
ないけ
behind
ど
Zakuski
医者じゃない。
and a very good race and
It's
had
all-
to behind Lord Glitters. He's not good enough to win it, but he could put a bold
計
show
算や
together
や
from
こ
the
しい
front.
な。レート探すの
Simon
大
Lake
変や。
Crisford and David Egan, who rides him for the first time this evening. They also
あ、
have
ニ
Epic
コ
Hero
生
in
の
the
時
race. I
1
love
回
this horse. He was so
あ
disappointing
れ
last
3
time. He's
桁
better
行き
than
ま
he
したよ
showed
ね。
last time, isn't he?
ニコ生でドバイ配信やった時、あれめちゃめちゃ盛り上がりましたよね。
The Zabeel Mile, yeah. Looking at it,
あん
look,
時すごかった
I
です
think
よ
if he
ね。
comes back to some of his best form,
もうコメントももう本当に初めての人とかがバンバン入ってきましたもん。12億やでカズくん。これの一番最後のドバイワールドカップ、これ勝つと12億やでカズくん。12億 V2 チ
The one
ー
you
ム
saw
にあっ
going to
た
face that
ら
it was Van der Gaard, who
ほらもう
the
あれや
representative from
ね、
Japan
ブ
in
ラ
the
ジ
race.
ルと
Mikel
かの
Barcelona
一流
rides
どころ
this
呼
one.
べ
He's a
る
bit of
よ。
a closer. He'll just come from off the pace. This is Ektiran, who's another one who'll go forward early.
多分ね、
That's what he did
熊
last time.
本
He
とか
actually
が
was very
ね、
gutsy. He refused to be beaten behind Lord Glitters. He was ultimately
12億手
beaten
に入ったらもう
by
や
a
ばいこ
quarter
と
of a
になるよ。
length. Ali Rashid Arahi won this race our Shamali. Surprise here.
Yeah, I think Royston rode that, didn't he? Royston French rode that. Yeah,
ドバイの人
look, I think it would be a surprise.
いや、洗うでしょ、
He went to the
ドバイの
front the
人。
last day, but
さす
like I
が
say,
に。
we didn't really, no one really took him on. I don't believe that's going to happen today. I think there's one or
こ
two
の
that
次の
might
レー
just
スは何億や
press him for the lead, so he's not going to have it as easy as he had when he ran such a good race. He's going to have to up his game. I think it was, you know, that second was behind Lord Glitters
4億なんぼ
was basically because he was in the
次
right
のレ
place
ー
at
ス
the right
買っ
time.
て
Is it She Murphy?
いろいろ引かれないでね引かれる前のね
His
話
handler
賞
around.
金でね
Lucia
4
Botti.
億
They've
以
hardly
上
missed a World Cup meeting, the Marco Botti team. This is first contact, who you will know very well because you rode him last time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to that race that Lord Glitters won,
peso.
the Jebel Hatter. I was slow away and you know, we went no pace and he was just, he over-raced me. And I think today, if he breaks, I would be very
千
shocked
葉の
if Pride doesn't
1008
any
バンド
point
ギャ
his
ルド
toe.
が出ます
He's
ね
a very
日
talented
本馬
horse,
が
and I'm a true believer. The way this horse trains on dirt at home, I think he's going to be very, very competitive in some big races on the dirt next year.
Well, Tiger's been like a man inspired from the front today. So he seems to have definitely had his Weetabix this morning. Glenforce is a bit of a late entrant into this race. He won the King's Cup, which is one of the biggest races in Bahrain last week. Oh, no, it wasn't last week at all. It was on the 12th of March. It was over a mile and a
あと9
half.
分かあと9分ですね
Litigator, he is not going to win this. I wouldn't have thought Fauzi's got a better chance of winning later on with Salute the Soldier.
Yeah, I think this was a late supplement after winning I think it was a Crown Prince Cup 2 weeks ago, was it, or 10 days ago? He won
12th of
in
March.
Bahrain. Look, he certainly stays. He might just be the pace angle in it as well because he gets further.
基本衛星関連が日本とはだいぶ劣る
But he would have to
あ
certainly
ーな
up
ん
his
と
game
なく
to
わかるような気する
feature
うち
in
の
this
外
race.
人見て
Really,
る
well, this is Land of Legends. He's never tried this trip. He actually should stay.
それはわかる気します
Pedigree
よ
and a running start suggests he'll stay. He's actually beaten over the 7 furlongs. He won the Al Fahidi for over that
うち
earlier
も
on this season. He's probably not going to be
ベトナ
quite
ムイン
good
ドネ
enough.
シア
This is Lord North's
中国
favourite
い
for
ま
the
すからね
race. He looks good. He looks good all week. I think he's going to go
そ
very
れは
close if he
ね
doesn't win.
わかりますよ
Yeah, look, I was very impressed with him when he beat Dave at Royal Ascot. He really announced his. I mean, I think was it 2 years ago he won the Cambridgeshire at
Yeah,
Newmarket,
over
and
this
he
trip.
was just. Yeah, he looked like he was a handicapper, or he was a group horse dressed up in handicap company. Yeah, I believe he's a strong contender, and he's done nothing but improve. He's now a 5-year-old. Look, like I say, that form of Adabe is very good. He went on to win the Champion Stakes at Ascot. His run in Keeneland over a mile and a half was probably a distance that was stretching him. And I was surprised, to be fair, that John Gosden didn't run Mishriff in this race. But I think he obviously had Lord North in here, so they've tried to separate the two.
Yeah, quite a lot of people perplexed by the Mishriff decision, but if they are aiming for the Arc at the end of the season, then maybe it makes sense to go a mile and a half on an easy mile and a half here. Certainly a nice looking horse, first contact, isn't he? Lord Glitters has gone down to the start early. This horse has been fantastic for the carnival. We were down on international runners. We needed a popular horse to come and win, and he came and won twice. Fantastic. Thank you very much to the Sandra Turnbull team and David O'Mara for bringing him over here. And he can well win this, but they'll need to go quick for him.
He could, but in saying that, the 2 races he's won, they haven't really gone that good. Well, the first race, they went a good gallop, and I think Adri rode him on his opening victory at the Carnival, and he was impressive that night. Like I say, the win of the Jebel Hatter was, you know, he's probably more value for his win because we didn't go a great pace. And yeah, he's just been the superstar of the Carnival, and who doesn't love a break. And he's just been a tremendous servant to David O'Mara, Danny Toto, and like you say, the Turnbulls, who are the owners of him, and they've travelled him. He travels really well. I think he's been to the States a few times. Yeah, he's a horse that always, you know, turns up, runs with his heart on his sleeve, and he won't be far away in this contest.
He's a bit of a nutcase. His rider in the mornings, or Danny rides him a lot, but Matt Ennis rides him as well, and they just have to keep a lid on him. He's very, very fizzy. Let's hear from Stephen.
My Thady Gosden, first of all, many congratulations. I believe you just won the Lincoln.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a great performance from Hatiki. And it was wonderful for Benoit to the side who was riding him. It's obviously a £7 claimer.
And Lord North here looks in good shape, nice and fresh going down.
He's in good form, you know. He's been enjoying the training over here. And as you saw, he was bouncing down the chute on the way onto the course.
And Mishriff later on, looking forward to him still?
Yeah, definitely. That's a very tough race. Obviously, you have Modal and Japanese horse Chronogenesis is a brilliant filly. So we'll see how he runs there.
Delighted earlier with New Treasure finishing third in what looked a very good race, the UAE Derby there.
Exactly, he ran a huge race. The race that he ran over in Saudi was not as competitive as that one, but he ran huge and Friend gave him a right there, bouncing him out from wide draw.
Good luck here. Thanks for your time, David.
Thank you very much.
Super helpful.
なんか本馬場入場とかもなんか音付きでなんかやったりとかね、ファンファーレがあったりとかってないから分かりづらい。
He looks quite nice, Richie. He looks good.
Yeah, he looks magnificent. He's obviously a horse that gets with edge. Looking at him, he's going down. Well, he runs with a hood on. Obviously, the black hood is one they keep on to running. The red hoods are the ones they just get to the start. He's obviously Williams had to mount him in the saddling boxes there, but he looks, he's on his toes, but he doesn't look like he's getting too excited. So it's obviously a good sign, but he looks in fantastic shape.
He will have to improve a lot on that run last time. Williams committed quite early on him. He kind of hung across the track and just didn't quite get home. And I think he pulled earlier on in the race. He was gassy. He should be more tractable, which will help. But he was so impressive when he won at Newmarket. That was back in July. He's totally entitled to lead that run last time. I just thought he looked the best horse in that race. But Lord North is a serious opponent, as is Lord Glitter. So we can have a look at that Jebel Hatter that you mentioned. Yeah, he only just got there, didn't he? And it was a super performance. And first contact, of course, you're in here. That's you on him, the grey.
Yeah, and like I say, Courthouse, Andrea Road, and just got his, he had the run of the race. Jim was up there with Equitran. It was just a slowly run race. Go back to Al Sahel over racing with William. He had to commit as early as he did because we didn't go a great gap, and you always want to be the first to get the run on them if the pace is slow. He was perfectly placed for what was a very slowly run race. Unfortunately, he just come up against a very tough and a horse that had the benefit of an altitude. So Lord Glitter had that first run, and I can see the form with the two of them being reversed. I'm just not sure. I think Lord North just offers a little bit more class in the race, and like I said, I think they were disappointed the way Al Sahel run, but I think they're just going to find one in Lord North that's just too good for them.
He's more the finished article at this stage of his career, isn't he, Lord North? He looks magnificent. Let's also show you that Bahrain win of Glen Force. And this is a horse that Fauzi and team picked up for 160,000. Tattersalls Autumn Horses in Training sale. Fauzi does so well at that sale. He teams up with Oliver St. Lawrence very often and buys horses and goes on to great glory with them. And this would have been huge because it is one of the biggest races. In Bahrain, Litigator, he'd also beaten Litigator the time before. This was over a mile and a half. He's never actually run over this trip, but I imagine that the Fauzi and the owners wanted to split him up from Sim Series goes in the Shima.
Absolutely, and look at it, I'm not sure when Andrew took the race up. Or if he didn't make all on that occasion, but he took it up a lot. He was in front on that video footage there. The straight in Bahrain is kind of 2.5 furlongs long, so I would imagine that he sees out the trip very well. I would be very surprised if they don't make plenty of use of him. And look, hopefully Adre from the front is very, very good. We're kind of looking where the pace angle will come. The horses that have made the run in the past have done it on their own, very tactically. Like I say, if Tide's horse breaks, I would expect him to let him point his toe because he's a horse that does get a little bit gassy. And I just think Glen Force, if he breaks well and is able to go there, I think Adge will make plenty of use of him because he does see the mile and a half out very well.
Adge is riding well from everywhere this season. He's absolutely one wins, he's been flying, hasn't he?
He's like a fine wine. He seems to be getting better with it. I think age is the thing tonight, isn't it? I think we had Joe Fannin at 50. I think Adri's 50 or
Tide's at least 62.
Well, he looks 62.
He does.
I think he's not even 40 yet.
あと1分でドバイターフ。
39. He looks 49 now.
Yeah, he does. He won't care what we say
これが
about
ま
him.
た
He's
し
one of
れ
the
っと
very
始まりま
valuable
すから。
As is this one.
ファンファーレもなくね、しれっと始まりま
I'm
すか
going, I
ら。
think the class horse in it is Lord North. And, he looks fit, he looks well. I think he's the horse that I think is the improving type. And, yeah, I think an international campaign beckons for him in the summertime.
I think you'll probably be right, but I better stick with Al Sahel as I made in my tip all week, but I've got nothing else right tonight. And who would begrudge Lord Glitters a third Group 1 win here? That would be absolutely brilliant for Dubai Racing, brilliant for connections. So good luck to the Lord Glitters team. Only a couple more to load. Ektiran there and Al Sahel. So let's head upstairs to Craig.
About to go in. Felix is out the back. Van der Gaard still to go forward, and Courthouse as well with Lord North. This is the running of the Dubai turf on the international boards. Lord North favourite just ahead of El Sahel, Lord Glitters and Van der Gaard. Van der Gaard coming along, Courthouse to follow it up for David Egan. And Lord North will be the last to load. Starters Shane Ryan heads off to the starting position. They're almost set. First of the big three to wind up Dubai World Cup night. Lord North goes in. They're all set now. Ready. They're racing in the Dubai turf, and away well was first contact from towards the inside. Zayn Holm shows a bit of speed, and getting his head up in the air out wide. Glenforce Epic Hero are just off the speed. Van der Gaard is getting a little keen. Hale improves between horses, followed by Lord North, Lord Glitters, then Courthouse over on the inside, Land of Legends, and Felix went back to the rear as they run their way down the back. And the front runner first contact out by 3 parts of a length over Ektiran, now a length. Over on the inside is Zayn Holm, followed by Glenforce in the red. Van der Gaard is over on the inside of Epic Hero, then El Sahel, Land of Legends, Lord North, Lord Glitters, the grey down on the fence, then Courthouse, and Felix was at the rear. 25-23 was the lead as they turn off the back, and first contact shows the way. Out a length and a quarter over Ektiran in second. Over on the fence is Zayn Holm, followed by Glenforce, still fairly keen against the rider. Van der Gaard down on the inside of Epic Hero, then El Sahel. It's about 7 lengths from the leader. Land of Legends down on the inside. Then Lord North, Lord Glitters, followed by Courthouse and Felix. They come to the bend. First contact is made play from the outset in the Dubai turf. Shows the way a length over Ektiran as they turn in. Zayn Holm now getting a little ride, followed by Glenforce on the outside, then Epic Hero. Van der Gaard went back to the inside, trying to pick its way through. Down the outside, Lord North runs on. El Sahel is flat-footed. Felix comes from the back. They come across the track, and Lord North booms up on the outside. Van der Gaard gets through Epic Hero. Felix from the back of the pack, but Lord North streaks away in the Dubai turf over Van der Gaard, Epic Hero and Felix, and Lord North careers away for Frankie Dettori, takes the Dubai turf. Lord North easily by 4. Second Van der Gaard, then Felix running on from the back from Epic Hero. Next in Land of Legends, Lord Glitters, followed by Ektiran, Courthouse. Well back was Glenforce. Then the early leader first contact, followed by Wellback, Zayn Holm and El Sahel. Didn't finish off at all. Runs in near the rear. Great performance by Lord North, Frankie Dettori and John Gosden. Another win for the UK. And what is turning out to be a truly remarkable international count of racing here. Lord North has let rip with a barnstorming finish. Races away. Van der Gaard, well ridden by Barcelona. Didn't go around too many horses. Went back to the inside. Finished well. And Felix settled dead last for Oisin Murphy. Has run on strongly in a very good run. So the internationals absolutely dominating this one. Lord North for the UK taking it out. Van der Gaard for Japan second. And third across the line. Wait for a confirmation. Felix, it was for the UK. So great ride by Frankie Dettori. He's taken out the first of the big trio of features here at the end of the card. The $4 million Dubai turf, sponsored by DP World.
Joined by Thady Gosden after the success of Lord North. That was impressive. Were you expecting something like that?
Well, we always hoped he'd run well, and he was in brilliant form from over here. But he definitely put that race to bed pretty well from pretty far back.
Pretty much his career best effort. She's setting him up nicely for what should be another profitable year. You'll be spacing his runs out. Seems to be a horse that goes very well fresh.
Exactly, you know, we'll probably take him home now.
これは硬かったね。3着がどうなるか。
Many congratulations.
ロードホースクラブ。いや、歓喜じゃない。3着ちょっと待って。
Absolutely top draw. A second win in the Dubai turf for Frankie Dettori after 1997 when he teamed up with Saeed bin Saror to win it with Tamiaz. That was called the Dubai Duty Free. This is a gorgeous horse. Another Dubai.
Yeah, that just shows how versatile he is. A marvellous sire. Great, another great advert for him. We're seeing him win on dirt, and we're seeing him win on turf. You know, the race panned out like I thought. Tig horse, fortunately enough, broke well. He was able to let him just point his toe. And yeah, Frankie just got a lovely slip through. And like I say, he's probably he was the class horse in the race going forward. Alpha Hale was very disappointed.
Murphy
he was a little bit not stopped for a run, but squeezed up at one point. Yeah, that's not really an excuse, I don't think.
No, I think they'll certainly have Charlie having his head scratched there because I think they were very disappointed. Felix, I thought, ran a real good race, stayed on really well for Marco Botti to finish third. I know Sean James, that used to be out here a long time ago, aka Furby, he'll be very pleased because he rides his horse at home, I think, and he's been banging on about it on social media. So
I know, I thought he was completely bonkers.
No,
I was like, he's got no chance. He's run a great race.
He certainly knows his horses, and I think this is a horse on the up. Yeah, he certainly ran a real good race and stayed on, and I think he'd be better going a little bit further.
He was bought by RJ Ane, who's you heard from at the top of the programme, one of the stewards here tonight, and also a successful bloodstock agent. He was responsible for Felix, who just continues the excellent international record of Marco Botti team. They are brilliant at getting a horse right for the big occasion. But it's all about Lord North here, who's by Dubai out of a mare called Najum, who was a half-sister to Discourse. He's also had a very good record fresh, so the fact he was running here for the first time since that Breeders' Cup turf wasn't really a concern.
No, and I was listening to an interview earlier on in the day with Adri, and they were talking about, you know, having horses, you know, fitness-wise going into the race, and the facilities they have now back home, you know, John Goz and the gallops that people are able to have their horses, you know, you're not really too concerned with them being off the track for such a long time. So yeah, he was a horse that brought in all the class form, and yeah, look, he's duly obliged, and look, he was top rated. I think he was 123 this evening. The second horse, Van der Gaard, was 115. Felix has run way above his rating and certainly will go up now. I think he was 108. He'll probably go up to 115 after tonight, and I think yeah, like I say, I think Lord North is a perfect horse. John and now Thaddy Gosden, we should mention, is he's had a very good start to the partnership, because I think they had a winner yesterday, half sister to Coronet, and yeah, there's no better way than stamping your partnership than having a Group 1 winner.
Yeah, a horse called Regent won for them in the UK on the all-weather. Frankie Dettori, of course, rides primarily for John Gosden in the UK, and he's just had a really good carnival here with Pit pops up on the night with a big win as well, so well done.
海外の馬だからよくわからんすよね。
On the rail, he might not have had didn't see a hard luck story as such, but he might not have had a clean run.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to watch the replay to just picking out certain horses in the race, and I was picking up the run Frankie had. I know he had William on the outside of him, but I wasn't sure where Danny had set the race. But they'll obviously be disappointed, but he's been a fantastic servant. Look, you can pick holes in his form. Look, as in
武道の武って書いて違う読み方する人でしょ、それ。
The international horses have certainly brought, you know,
去年の関東のリーディングでしょ、それ。
Lord North rated 123. You know, we'll look back and probably say he was the banker of the evening, but you know, yeah, I think he's a very smart horse going forward.
Been a good night for the Brits so far, following on from the win earlier on in the Dubai Gold Cup. For Mark Johnston, the winning most trainer in England, and John Gosden, one of the most successful trainers in England. Multiple champion trainer wins this with Thady, who won't actually get his name on this because we don't have training partnerships yet in the UAE. So defaulted to just being John's. But Thady's been here with the horse. We'll give him the credit.
We'll give him the credit. And I think he takes the credit for Mishrif in Saudi. Hopefully his father is going to give him the percentage of it, or his share of the percentage of it, because they're two big wins, and yeah, look,
バーガルの関焼きねそうが正面。
For John Gosden when I was back in the UK.
いや、わからんすよ。2着っすからね。
Yeah, so
she won, of course, won a Dubai. She won a.
She won She was Williams' first Group 1.
Yeah.
She won a Shima Classic. So, you know, I know they're a fantastic operation, and you know they do everything the right way, and I'm sure. I'm sure John Gosden won't be taking a back seat, but I suppose going racing that will possibly left to Thady to be the front man now.
つうか俺明日6時半起きで中京に行くのにいいのかって思うけど2時近くまで配信してて。
Little smiley face. That's a bit original. We'll take it from the start.
一応初めての人を見てると思うんですけど、明日中京行くんですよ。
Yeah, I didn't think Ty could take the horse back. He's quite a free-going horse anyway. And his best form in the past, when Charlie had him, was when he was letting him use a stride. I do believe he's going to be a better horse.
3年運ヶ月ぶりに
You know, the view of Zane Holm was a little bit keen under Antonio, but I don't think there was any real excuses for anything else in the race. They've gone a nice even gallop. I wouldn't say they've gone quick. I thought Adri would be close to the pace. His horse won over a mile and a half last time, but you know, Frankie's just taking his time. He knows he's on the class horse, and he knows there's a long straight when we turn in here on the turf. You've got 3 furlongs to run. I think Danny is you know, he's happy where he is. I wouldn't say I'm not sure whether he got stopped on the turn, but I've been very happy where he's sat now. I think he's following around the legends just in front of him, and Frankie's just on the outside, so he's got all the right horses around him. The Japanese horse, Vindegard, is just a couple of lengths in front of him, so at no point, like I say, I didn't see firsthand where there was any interference. I think it was a通常の回数やったら無料のなんかスタンドの席があるんですよ。ちゃんとガラス張りになってる。そこもすごかったんですよ。本当はゴールのところが良かったんですけど、倍率が高かったんで、ちょっと安全策で直線のところの席を選んでラスト70ぐらい。ラスト70ぐらいでしたかね、調べたら。最後の直線のところ。対面がラスト70ですね。
Not his 7th start at all. 7th win, 13th start this evening from Lord North. Continues a very good record of John Gosden here in Dubai. That's now 6 wins from just 44 runners. So far tonight they've had a winner and a third new treasure. What's Mishra going to do?
9時開門でしょ。9時開門の10時スタートでしょ。10時ぐらいに第1レースですから。中京早いですから、一番レースが、レース開始が。だからまあついてちょっとゆっくりなんか見物したいなってまた、まあ入れないとこもあるんですけどね今回は。勝ち馬ビューとか入れませんからね。行きたかったけど。10時5分から第1レースですからね。そうちなみにデキさんが大好きな藤田七子は来ません。中山です。でも、新人の子2人は来ますよ。女の子2人。古川、長島、両名は。でも古川3勝目でしょ。こんなんだったら飲まなければよかったです。ミンミンダハ10本飲みなさいって。今からミンミンダハ買ってきて。
Stay past them, if you like, over the 1800 meters. It is quite the big step up here.
デキさんにもね、ダイレクトメッセージでね、だって送ったんやけど、近くにコンビニないから嫌だっていうし。
He's just perhaps something not quite right, maybe, or it's in his head. I'm not sure. Hard to diagnose.
Yeah, he's obviously a difficult horse. Like we saw him coming down the tunnel with William on, and he's obviously a horse.
めっちゃガラガラでしょうね。指定席分プラスそのスタンドの席分しか。要は客来ないですし、多分全部が全部あれでしょ、多分間隔を空けて座るようにするから全部が全部埋まるようにはしてないはずですよね。中京のね帰りはね、1号線までね大変なんですよ。まあ駐車場はすんなり出れると思うんですけどね。酒の販売もない。あ、別に俺競馬場ではね飲まないんですよ。競馬場で飲むことはないんでいいですけどね。
winner
次の
in
レースは
Dubai.
なんだ
Sadie Gosden after his first winner
Sea
in
Mac
Dubai. He
Classic
was over
ですね
earlier in the carnival with Dubai Warrior. That was a bit of a
シーマクラシッ
underwhelming
ク
campaign by that horse.
Yeah,
Running him on the
1時
dirt was
10
never
分か
really
ら
going to suit, I didn't think.
No, and we had the full
これは
grille.
もうあれですよね、黒の
I
前
think
シ出
if
る
Dan
し
Silly, if you were looking at size for
この前
artificial
京都記念
surfaces,
勝
I
った
think
ラブ
Dan
ゾーン
Silly
リー
is the best one, isn't he? I think he's both horses, but I think were undefeated on
黒の
artificial
前シ
surfaces. And
JRA オ
it
ッズで
they
1.7 倍で
kind
す
of
からね
both ran
単
in
勝
the last leg of the Mactoum or the second leg of the Mactoum
レーティン
challenge.
グ
Or
も
was it the last? It was one of them
Second
anyway.
leg,
レーティング
Yeah.
2位タイ
And they were both
1位じゃないよ 2
disappointed.
位タイなの
It'd be interesting to see whether they stay out here for the future. Obviously, the owner Mohammed has.
Sheikh Mohammed bin Khalifa. I think he's gone home, Dubai Warrior.
He
I'm
has.
pretty sure he's gone home.
Yeah,
お外寒いっす
he's gone back to the UK. Well,
お外寒いっ
no,
すって
our horse has gone off to
言
the
ってる
farm,
からあ
so
かんやん
he'll have a nice
そこ
break
買いに
and,
行かな
and he'll be brought back for maybe a campaign on
お
turf
外
next
寒い
season.
ですっ
Yeah,
て
it'd be
言
nice
っ
horse
て
for turf, live a longer
行かんかっ
distance.
た
These
らあ
are
れ
the
あかん
results for our Qingxi.
の
2.3 million first
それを買い
prize.
に行って10本
Dubai Turf.
でそれをインスタにアップするところまでセットやから
Picked
ね
up a couple of seconds tonight, including with Panadol earlier on.
デキさん絶対そこ見るよね
And Lando Legends picking up minor money as well. Well, it's already been a great night for John Gosden. What can Mishrif do? His is quite an interesting story.
トイレがすごく綺麗に感じると思うあ、わかるわでも JRA のトイレ
The maroon and grey silks of Prince
まあ
Faisal of Saudi
G1
have
ク
been
ラス
carried
に
to
なると
victory
人
by
多
some
いからあれ
wonderful
か
horses in decades gone by. The Prince's own Nawara
まだ
stud
JRA の
produced
トイレ
top
マシっす
sprinter
よ
Invincible Spirit at the turn of the century, and that horse would become a doyen of the breeding
競
sheds
輪
and is
場
still
のトイレ
producing
と
Group
か
1
ね
winners year after year.
ほんと悲惨っ
Make
すよ
Believe is another burgeoning stallion that represented Prince Faisal with distinction, landing the French 2000 guineas and Prix de la Forêt of 2015. It's one of his first crop progeny,
牝馬だ
a
から
homebred
実
called
質
Mishrif,
まあそう
that
とも
currently
言え
has the
ますか
racing world at
ね
its feet. After dispatching some well-regarded sorts in the Newmarket Stakes, the Prix de Jockey Club was his next assignment. The way he exploded out from an unpromising position at Chantilly was deeply impressive.
And Mishrif is now the one that picks up, and Mishrif forges on in the maroon jacket for the John Gosden team. Mishrif wins.
2020 ended on a low note, with the horse disappointing when
まあ
expected to win
氷
the
点
Champions
マ
Stakes
ジ
at
ですか
Ascot.
さもう4
But he
月
wouldn't
で
be
すよ
slow in showing that to be an
4月
exception
に氷
rather
点
than
下
the
の場所
rule.
があるんですか日
Mishrif
本
went to his owner's
日本の
homeland
本
and
土
chased
に
down Bob Baffert Charlatan on the long Riyadh home straight to collect the $20 million Saudi Cup.
Mishrif Charlatan.
マジでカズくん
Mishrif conquers
そん
the
な美味
cup.
しい話
An
ないやん
upset
か
winner.
氷
With
点
options
下
of
を
plundering further riches on dirt,
歩い
the
て
4-year-old
コ
will
ンビ
now
ニに
contest
ミン
the
ミンダ
Shima
ハを10
Classic
本
over
買
a
いに行
mile
く
and
と
a
か
half on turf. A head scratcher,
そんな
perhaps.
狂ったこ
Sadie
とができる
Gosden
んや
gives
で
us some insight into the thinking behind that decision.
He got back home a day, and it didn't take too much out of him, luckily, and he was training well at home. And Prince Faisal and everyone made a decision to come over here. So he's in good form at the moment, just went on the turf there now, and seems well himself. Obviously, they're very different races, but it's such a wonderful turf course here, and obviously being a mile and a half, it's
あこれは日本馬ワンツーを期待したいけどな
Mishrif will face a high-quality field in the Shima over a trip that he's never attempted before. This is a whole new challenge, but he is
自分の
arguably the
今
most
ツイッターのフ
exciting
ォロワーさん
racehorse on the
で
planet right
や
now,
っぱラブ
and
ゾ
it
ーン
will
理
be
由
marvelous
の
to see him strut his stuff
出
on
資
World
者の
Cup
人も
night.
いるから朗報ユザーの現
Well,
在
it's a
の
remarkable
11度
story concerning
11度
Mishrif.
もあ
It
るやん
really is.
け
If
カ
he
ズ
can
くん
pull
なん
this
か
off
氷点
tonight,
下
that is
や
a serious double. The
あかん
Saudi
って
Cup's
嘘
not
つ
a
い
Group
たら
1, but it will be. It was a very strong race. He's
そん
beaten
なもん
two
全裸で買い
the
に
two
行か
best
な
dirt horses in America there in Charlatan and Nixco.
Absolutely. Was a great
Niigata.
red letter day for David Egan as well. I mean,
新潟
my slight the major
でも
concern I have is that he's
天
coming
気は
back
良く
from
ない
he's never ran a mile and a quarter.
大丈夫
Look,
やんカ
I
ズくん
believe
絶対大丈夫っ
Prince
て
Faisal is obviously looking at
これやったら死なんて
the arc, a tilt at the arc.
死ぬことはない
The worrying factor is he travelled extremely well in what was a hard race in Saudi. You know, Charlatan and Nixco got hooked up early. They went hard. I think he sat third and travelled extremely well. I've seen him a couple of times in the morning here, and he looks like he's a little bit gassy. He's now running over a trip he's never been over before. It's an extra 2 furlongs, back on turf. I always are slightly worried when horses come from back from dirt to turf straight away because they tend to hit. You know, they've been forced to get out of their comfort zone and race out of their comfort zone because you want them to get a good position on dirt racing. And that was a hard run race, which is why I'm surprised that they didn't go for the turf. But subsequently, we've seen why with Lord North winning. I'd be willing to take him on today. Look, he's a top class horse. He won. I think the furthest he's been it was an extended mile and a quarter in the French Derby.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, that is the major concern I have is that he's taking on proper seasoned stayers. You know, that have ran this distance. And I just be more concerned about how David is going to switch him off early doors.
Yeah, I mean, David's proved himself to be a bit of a superstar, especially with the media this week. He's been brilliant. He's been on every channel. He's done loads of press conferences. He's been fab. The young jockeys are a bit like that, aren't they? A lot of them.
You know what? I was saying yesterday, there's just an amazing bunch of young jockeys that look, they're very talented in the saddle. But out of the saddle, they're extremely good. I mean, look, we've seen Shane Murphy's been very open in recent years with social media. Tom Marquand, young Kieran Fallon, you know, and I think David got somewhat forgotten a little bit because he was the rising star of all these young jockeys. You know, I mean, there's probably no one better bred to be a jockey than him. I mean, his dad is still riding. John is a fantastic rider. His uncle is one of the finest riders we've ever seen, Richard Hughes. You know, his grandfather, Desi Hughes, you know, his mum, Sandra. So there's no one in that weighing at the moment that has a better pedigree than him. So, but I think, you know, he had a Royal Ascot winner very early in his career with Roger Ver. I think he won the Albany. Could be wrong. And I think a lot has been made of a lot more younger jockeys coming through that had hit the headlines before him. He kind of got forgotten about. But he's an extremely talented young man, very good rider, extremely nice kid as well, very polite, well-mannered. Like you say, he's been exceptional with the media all week. I believe he was the same when he went to Saudi. You know, he's got his head screwed on, and he's, you know, look, if he's able to bag this tonight, he's going to be well known as a big race jockey. You know, because he seems very calm, collective, and you know, he's taken everything in his stride.
Yeah, if he can win this tonight, that'll be a serious performance by both horse and jockey. It'll be a very unique double, even though the Saudi Cup's still in its infancy, of course. And we're up to $5 million for our Longines Dubai Shima Classic. It hasn't really had much of a cut. It was $6 million, I think, last year or 2 years ago when we last ran it. We've got 5 Group 1 winners in here. Not all Group 1s are created equal, I'd say. Channel Maker's a 4-time Group 1 winner, but the level of Group 1s he's won wouldn't be the same as the level of Group 1s that Chronogenesis has won in Japan, for instance.
Yeah, look, Channel Maker
うちのフォロワーさんで、ラブズオンリーユーがオークス勝った時の口取りにも出た人いるんですよ。出資者の人で。今ツイッターでね、単勝20万超えてる。マジかこの人。すごいやろ。
Probably only been listed horses in Europe.
雨降ってるし暗いし無理っすよ。
I think he's a 3-time Grade 1 winner. Solid horse. I mean, the Japanese their horses are getting better and better every year. Mogul, I think, is somewhat being overlooked in that. I think that he's a horse that I think there was a lot of expectation about this. So I think Ryan rode him in the Derby. I think he was his Derby ride. Serendipity won the race, but I think he's probably a late developer in that mentally. It's just taken him a bit of time to get the hang of things. And, you know, look, he's coming off the back of winning in Chartin. I think was it the Vase he won?
The Vase. Quite a weak Vase, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the race he won in France. He won the Arc Trials. Was it the Gannet or the...
He won
the mile and a half race.
Yeah, the Grand Prix de Paris, I think.
Oh, the Grand Prix de Paris, sorry. Pierre-Charles Buldo rode him that day, yeah. So, you know, he's a horse I think is just only getting his act together, and I think you'll see bigger and better things to come as a 4-year-old from him. And it looks like the intention is to keep him in training, and maybe you'll look at him as having a crack at, you know, the Arc, the King George, the Coronation Cup, all those big Group 1s this year. So, you know, and they're genuine stayers, and that's the worrying factor with Mishra. If he does get the trip, he's a class horse, but that is a major question mark. And like I say, it's just more if he settles coming back off a fastly run dirt race.
競馬関係のアカウントの人はみんな大体起きてますね。Twitter 見てたら。
Mile and a half horse is a half brother to Japan and Secret Gesture. Japan, of course, successful at Group 1 level. Didn't really go on in his sort of later career, did he? I wonder if they're a bit worried about that with Mogul.
なんか入場制限してますと
obviously,
か
look,
って書いてあるんです
I
け
think
ど。
Japan was another one that he was a bit of a talking horse, but the profile of this horse, he was always talked upon, and Ryan always favoured him in a lot of the big races, and I would say his homework was always good. Maybe he was just mentally fragile in that when he got to the races, things didn't work out his way. And, you look at his solid 2 Group 1s came at the back end of the year where he was just about to turn 4. So, to me, that just tells me that he's a bit immature mentally as opposed to physically. I just feel that he's a horse that I think is going to be dominating some of those big mile and a half races in Europe, and maybe he'll go on to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic. We've seen he's proven traveller as he won in Hong Kong, but I think he's only just starting to get his act together.
I think so as well. I think he's going to have a big year, Mogul. I'm just not sure it will necessarily start with a win today. The Japanese have had a good night without managing to have a win so far. Of course, they had live chances in the Shaheen. They also had live chances in the Derby. They're going to be really banking on Chronogenesis to get them that win, because the Chilvis is probably up against it in the World Cup. She's the best horse that they've brought here tonight. She's got very good record fresh. We last saw her in the Rima Kinen. She's beaten the Colts over there. She should just be too good, but seeing her in the morning, she doesn't really impress. She's not the most amazing looking filly.
No, and the mares have actually got a very good record in this race and in the turf itself. Look, I go back to her. She won a Grade 1 last time out. You go back to that previous run, she was 3/4 of a length behind Almond Eye. If you put Almond Eye in this race, she's 4-1 on, 5-1 on favourite. She'd be the banker of the whole card. So if she's able to chase that horse down to 3 parts of a length, and if she brings that form into this race, then she's a clear danger. And I go back to Mogul. I think he's the one that is just starting to get his act together. We'll see how he comes back off that run in Hong Kong, but certainly she's the one they've all got to go and beat.
Well, the Japanese have won this race 3 times with Stay Gold back in 2001, Hearts Cry in 2006. That was an amazing performance. And Gentle Donna won it in 2014. So it is a race that they've got a good record in. In Japan, they really do breed for a mile and a half, don't they? Their biggest race, the Japan Cup's over a mile and a half. They're obsessed with winning the Arc. Everywhere else, not everywhere else, but in Europe, it's all gone more some speed focus, hasn't it?
Yeah, in recent years, like you say, the Japanese have always, their best horses have always been out and out stayers. I think the tracks out there are very similar to here at Maiden, big long straights, big galloping tracks where their horses are able to get into a nice rhythm. They look generally visually that they run at good solid paces, so you have to stay the distance. And you go back to what we said about in Europe now. We've gone away from that. If you win a derby, your chances are you'll probably be standing covering national hunt mares nowadays, which is why I don't think we'll ever see a Triple Crown winner in the UK, because I don't think anyone really wants to win the St. Ledger anymore. It's a mile 6, as stud value is so valuable these days.
Let's stop you a second so we can go to Stephen for an update on this race.
2人出ます、ね。
Chronogenesis versus Mogul then promises to be a great Shima Classic with plenty of other good horses in there besides. I'll show you the conditions then for our penultimate race. There's 2 more to go on Dubai World Cup night, which are for 10 past 8 for this 2,410 metre contest on the turf, carrying Group 1 status and sponsored by Longines. The one non-runner in there, as you can see, is Berkshire Rocco, which leaves a field of 9 headed by Channel Maker, Vijol Rosario and Bill Mott. 2 is Dubai Future, Frankie Dettori in search of a double. 3 is Simsir, Adred of 3 rides for Fauzi Nas. 4 Star Safari, Mikhail Barcelona on board that one. Walton Streets is the mount of William Buick. 6 doesn't go. Then Mishriff, shouldn't forget him, of course. David Egan on board, the Saudi Cup winner. Mogul for Ryan Moore, Great Stall 1. Chronogenesis and Loves Only You, the 2 Japanese mares down the bottom there.
It's a good lineup, it really
全額使うな、
is.
全額。
Dubai Shee Mac Classic. This is Channel Maker, who is a really popular horse. He's trained by Bill Mott, who is a very popular trainer. As I said, he's a 4-time Grade 1 winner. He's not going to be winning this, I don't think. He did run a very good race in Saudi behind True Self, where he led and looked briefly like he was going to hold on. That was over 2,100 meters. He does stay this trip. He's won twice over it. In the Sword Dancer and the Joe Hirsch. In fact, he's won a couple of Joe Hirsches, I think. But he's probably not going to be quite good enough here. This is Dubai Future. Frankie will have to be at his very best to win on this one.
I think that's the only sort of added advantage this horse has. He's got Frankie on his back, because I think he's going to have to up his game. He was 3.5 lengths behind Walton Street last time out. You know, on that form, he's got a lot to find.
Yeah, he does. He goes for Sobering Stories. Won this race twice. Frankie himself won it on Rewilding in 2011 and Suleimani in 2003. Rewilding was a very, very smart horse. This is Simsia, the Bahrain Trophy winner, who ran on dirt in the Saudi Cup, which was never going to work, and it didn't. He was last. This is first run over the 1 mile and 4 this evening, this trip, but he's a winner here at the Carnival. That came last year when he was trained by Mick Halford. He's probably not going to be quite good enough, I wouldn't say. 66-1 is about right for him. Adjudiatory rides. He was another one who came over at the weekend. They've been going out in the early quarantine slot, the Bahrainis. Star Safari. He's been a good horse here in Dubai. He's 3 from 4, but this is a tough spot.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. Look, he's been consistent during the Carnival. You know, he's won his last 2. You know, last race was a Group 3. And, you know, he beat Bedouin Story. It's interesting that Williams overlooked him, you know, to ride Walton Street. So, you know, he looks like a second string, and he certainly has to up his game. He's going to feature in this.
Could have done with Charlie having 3 in here. He's actually been a good to you. He's ridden a lot of Charlie this year.
We've gone back
a long way. We've been friends for many years, and
歓喜で土地狂うところを見たい。
they've got a lot of horses.
120万手に入って。
Obviously, the fact I think Brett Doyle went back early this year. He would have obviously been on the horses, but he supported me, and yeah, very lucky to have the support of him during the Carnival.
Well, Charlie won this with Hawkbill, who'd also taken the City of Gold the time before, which is a race that Walton Street won, and Walton Street actually set the track record earlier on this season. He's been a super horse this year. He won very well on Super Saturday. Several others would have to underperform for him to win this, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think he broke the track record in a listed handicap. Probably, I think it was the opening night of the Carnival, I think, or you know, certainly the second meet, and he was impressive. He's then, you know, stepped up to Group 2 company. You know, you could probably pick holes in that form. But yeah, he's probably one I see finishing. Look, he does stay. That's the one thing in his favour. He gets the trip. I think if he was to finish 3rd or 4th, I think Connections would be very happy.
Here is Mogul. Really good, as is Aidan O'Brien's one. He was the last arrival of the international horses. We didn't see him go out onto the track until I think Thursday, maybe. But that's what Aidan does. He likes them to do their last piece of work at home with him and Ballygoyle, and then he sends them over. Cost 3.4 million as a youngster. Tattersall's Book 1 did Mogul, because I mentioned he's got excellent breeding being related to Japan. And Secret Gesture, Chronogenesis is on her toes a little bit. She's a daughter of Bago, and she's the only slight concern I have is she's actually the first ride.
つうかもうこんな日本のパドックで見れねえような風景が多いですよね。
I'm sure he'll have done his research, but it's the first time he's ever ridden here at Maidan. And it's also the first runner here for Takashi Sato, the trainer. So that's a bit of a worry. By contrast, Loves Only You is also from Japan. Yoshi Murphy rides. He's had 27 winners in Dubai. And the trainer, Yoshito Yahagi, has had a winner here before. So there is that. Real Steel, who won Dubai Turf a few years ago. She could maybe pop up a little bit at a fairly big price. But no getting away from the fact that Chronogenesis is very much the first string here for the Japanese.
Definitely. And like you say, I was just looking at there. She's on the toe. You know, doesn't seem to be getting too overexcited. She's quite a lightly framed filly. But yeah, I mean, you go back to the thing that YouTube Katamara hasn't ridden here before. the tracks here are very similar to what they are in Japan, and it's very straightforward. I think he'll just take a slot on her. He knows her well. He's ridden that.
今回止まらへんよ。もう日帰りで行くからね。
Just go to Stephen in the Pro Ring.
クールモアっていうのがアイルランドのノーザンファームみたいな。
Oh, he's been fabulous. He
しかもオ
brings
ブラ
his
イ
A
エン
game
厩舎
every
だね。
race, and I think he's getting better. I mean,
オブライエンって聞くとね、俺どうしてもね、バイオハザードの何やったっけ、俺がやってるやつ、最近サボってるけど、あれに出てくるなんか登場キャラっていうかで、なんかオブライエンって言うんですよ。あれが頭に思い浮かぶんですよ。家族落ちとった、マジで。やっぱりメンミンダハ買いに行こう、コンビニに。歩いて。次そうっすね。ドバイシーマクラシックっすね。あと5分です。あと5分でございます。
Try to get the jump on him, and we just got to hope we can hang on. So he's training well, and we're pretty confident.
When you talk about his head, his head going up, that's the problem you get if he doesn't get his lead. He uses a lot of energy throwing that head up. So you've got to get him on the lead and then calm him down. So when he comes home, he's got something left.
It's great to see you both here. Hopefully I'll be talking to you after the race as well.
I hope so.
We hope so too.
This has been fabulous, and we really appreciate the invitation here.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, Mishriff.
Oh, Mishriff Giri.
He's a beautiful horse.
Mishriff.
And good to hear there from the owners of Channel Makers. So many owners have made it over here from America, which bizarrely enough is one of the easier places to travel to and from at the moment. And fantastic that we've had so many connections here. Here's another look at the Saudi Cup. That's Charlatan, one of the best horses in America. We think about to be sort of ground past. It's not really a phrase, is it? By Mishriff. Now, you rode in the Saudi Cup last year, Richie. It's a different surface to here.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate. I've been to Saudi quite a few times. Certainly last year, what I remember the track was rode a little bit deeper than it usually had in previous years. I've been over there for the King's Cup. It's a very kind hot surface on horses, but what I gather on Saudi Cup night, or certainly the day before, it rained an awful lot. And
it rained and it was freezing.
Yes, well, it's very cold there. But I think the problem with they have some sort of wood chipping or some fibers in the dirt track, and I think a lot of the guys were complaining that it was very, very deep and rode very, very slow and holding, and which is probably why the horses that were close to the pace kind of saw it out. I was talking to Antonio about military law, and he was saying that, he never able to get organised on it, the track at all. So I think that played a big part in it. But like I say, this horse was always placed close to the pace. I mean, Charlatan and Nick Skull went lights out. I mean, they were literally taking each other on. And, full credit to Charlatan because it was still able to finish second. Like I say, from stall 10, it'll be very interesting to what David's tactics will be. I believe he's going to take back and ride the horse to get the trip. I think because if he gets pitched out wide, I think the horse is going to overrace. I don't think he'll go forward on it because it's the first time over this distance. The pace angle is very interesting to see where it comes from here as well.
Chronogenesis generally sits just off the pace, sort of in mid-division, which is what she does here. This is the Arima Kinem, which is, I think, the biggest betting race in the world. It's a huge deal. It's over at Nakayama, over the 2,500 metres, so a little bit further than she'll travel today. And she beats Salacia, who's a Group 1 winner, I think, very nicely indeed. She's not spectacular, apart from her win in the Takarazuka Kinem, which was 6 cents over Kiseki, She often just gets it done. She also won the Kyoto Kinen. That was a grade 2. She beat Karen Bokador in there. Her level of form is just strong right away. She's beaten the top horses in Japan, which makes me think that she's going to be just too good here. She should just be too good here. But
ちゃんと来週仲良く
レキさんと
観戦しやなあかんで。
but they're a bit harder to train in general in that some of them don't come out of the races as well as others.
ちょっとパッと見反射の人っぽく見えるけど大丈夫だから。
For many years, she was at the top of her game. You know, you just have to see how, like I say, she looked
パッと見反射系の人に見えるけど大丈夫よ、カズ君。ビビることないから。
With a filly, you kind of have to back off and give them a little bit more time than a robust colt would take. You know, like I say, they do take their races a little bit different. The interesting one is Simsir because I'll be surprised to see it. I mean, when he won in Bahrain, he won that big international race. I think he made all the running, and he scooted clear. He was quite a free, gassy horse. I remember when he came over here last year with Mick Halford. I don't think Adri's going to make the running in stall 4, and he's another one that I think this trip's going to stretch. Star Safari might just go because Walton Street's a good, solid stayer, so Mikkel might just let him point his toe. I don't think Ryan's going to be too far away on Mogul either.
No, we know Mogul really sees this trip out well, so no particular reason to hold him up. You wouldn't think. He's quite a strong travelling sort, Mogul. Really lovely son of Galileo. So who's going to win it then? I shall play it safe in this one and go with the favourite, Chronogenesis for me.
Okay, well I'll go with something different. I'm going to go Mogul because I think he's an improving type. I think he's only just really getting his act together. So it's one for the Irish and Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore.
Only 2 runners on the card tonight for the O'Brien family. Joseph had speaking colours earlier on. Oh, quite, and this is Aidan's only run. In fact, it's his only nomination, which was slightly baffling. So great that he's brought him. Aidan won this race in 2013 with St Nicholas Abbey. Can he do it again with Mogul? It's our Longines Dubai Shima Classic, and it's up next.
Final 2 to go forward. So we're almost set to go now. 2,410 metres the journey. Mishriff and David Egan about to go forward.
あれ来てスクータービーとかって乗って走ってでも違和感ないな。
$5 million on the line. They're all set. Ready to go.
さあゲートイン完了。
Gates are back and they're racing in the Shima, and Mogul off the inside began beautifully. So too did Walton Street, and Channel Maker's going to go forward and take up the running early. Simsir alongside of it. Chronogenesis Loves Only You are just off them. They were followed by Star Safari. Now Mogul getting back on the inside now. They will follow as they leave the straight by Dubai Future, and outside of it as they race their way towards the back straight was Mishriff. They go towards the back now. 2,000 metres left to run, and Channel Maker for the USA shows the way of a Simsir up to second. Walton Street in the clear third. Next of all is Star Safari, then Chronogenesis Loves Only You. Mogul over on the inside, then Mishriff, and last of all as a race into the back is Dubai Future. The first section was 26.31 as they flatten out. Into the back straight they go behind Channel Maker, showing the away, leading by 3 parts of length. Simsir up on the outside in second. Next of all is Walton Street. They were followed by Star Safari, the red cap, down on the inside of the Japanese mare.
日本だったら弱って高知競馬とナイターぐらいですからね。
Next of all then is Dubai Future, and Mishriff just bowling along at the rear of the field as they run their way down the back in the Shima. And Channel Maker has made play, getting to its neck on the outside now is Simsir, then Walton Street, the inside Star Safari, the red cap, followed by Chronogenesis and Mogul travelling together. Then Loves Only You. Next of all is Dubai Future, and over on the outside Mishriff is at the tail. About to turn down the back as they turn off the back straight, and Joel Rosario gave Channel Maker a little bit more rain, and it snuck away a length and a quarter over Simsir in second. Walton Street travels well in third, followed by Star Safari, Chronogenesis, Mogul Loves Only You. Next of all is Dubai Future, and Mishriff is beginning to take off around the outside. A crackerjack finish in the offing here as they come to the bend, and Channel Maker the leader. Walton Street strode up on the outside strongly. They were followed as they turn in by Chronogenesis, the inside Star Safari. Mishriff comes down the outside. Loves Only You. Mogul head of the rest.
あ、外からもっといい足が来てる。黒の追い出した。黒の追い出した。 た。ラブゾーニーわずかに先頭。ラブゾーニーわずかに先頭。ラブゾーニーわずかに先頭。クロノが追いすがってラブゾーニーとクロノ並ぶか。あ、でも大外の方が優勢。大外優勢。クロノとクロノ2着。7番ということはフランスのダービーはミシュリフ優勝です。ミシュリフが優勝です。
And that is one of the best races you will ever see anywhere in the world. Mishrif goes up on the outside of Love's Only You. Chronogenesis was just a little bit flat-footed. She dug in late. But Mishrif switching back to the turf. And that's the Dubai Shima Classic. The Chronogenesis in a race for the ages. And Love's Only You. And the North Walton Street. Fantastic performance by Mishrif. What a training performance by John Gosden and David Egan, the rider. Settled last, made his move off the back straight, covered them quickly, but as soon as he got to the front, then the two Japanese mares sprinted with him. Fantastic performance by Mishrif, and Chronogenesis and Love's Only You have been a huge in defeat. Fantastic. Longines Dubai Shima Classic presented by Longines. It's been taken out by Mishrif, who has now won 6 races from 10 career starts. And this win will open up so many doors back in Europe. Now they can run at a strong 24-10. And back onto the turf tonight, Mishrif has added the Dubai Shima Classic to what is building as an enormous resume.
What a horse. This has never been done before, Richie. You just don't win a top-level dirt race and 5 weeks later come and win one of the best mile-and-a-half turf races in the world, beating one of the best Japanese mares in the world. It just doesn't happen, yet it just did.
That was amazing. And you know what a lovely ride David gave him as well, because he was drawn 10. He took him back early. He was racing a little bit freely early on, but he always had him in control, and he made his move at the right time. Yeah, look, like I say, in Saudi he was always just outstayed the horses, whether he was always going to get this trip. But like I say, that it just John Gosden is a genius with what he has, and I think he's going to work back from the arc, and this Prince Faisal obviously wanted to have a tilt at it, and as for value going as a stud, there's more value in winning this race than the race in Saudi.
Yeah, this is a great race.
He's now Group 1. Well, he won the French Derby over
重賞じゃない、オープン特別買ってる馬が。オープン特別買ってる馬が。ダービー馬がこんなオープン特別みたいなとこ使ってのもすごいですよね。それでも57キロっていうね。斤量が。
Top flight young stars in the weighing room, and like I say before, he turned himself into a big race jockey.
It was a super performance. Let's get more from the Winning Connections.
多分白のね、粉末状でね、グラム数万ぐらいでね、売ってるような薬を多分多分嗅がせてるんですよ、嗅がせてる。注射じゃなくて。警察用語で言うと炙りってやつですね。
Mile and 2, mile and a half, dirt, turf. He's doing it all at the moment. Great for Prince Faisal. And his son here, Prince Khalid.
もう4番人気、1番人気、3番人気ですからね。
And that filly's good now from Japan. She's
配
real good.
当が
I'm delighted. He's beating proper Group 1 horses, and he's a real star.
まあその硬い組み合わせでもまあちょっと高め系でになったかなって感じですよね。3連単オッズが 115.3。まあなんとか3桁配当は保ちましたね。
Chronogenesis and Love's Only You. Let's not forget he was giving weight away here, not much. 1.5 kilos to the fillies.
日本は勝てない。
No, it's not it, especially when you're running over a mile and a half for the first time. They looked like they went a nice, genuine pace. Channel Maker and Joel Rosario, led them along at a nice, good, even gallop. And like I say, I think David's first point to call was getting the horse to switch off after running on the dirt. But what a horse and what a tough, genuine performer he's been. And he's a homebred as well, which I think will make it even more special for Prince Faisal.
Yeah, stallion make-believe.
Very
successful indeed, and the mare actually contradicted the Dama Mishra. She was a mile 2 winner. All the siblings have been milers so far. John Gosden's very good at winning this race. He won it with Dare Lee in 2010, the first ever running of the race at Meydan. And also won it with Jack Hobbs, who kind of came into the race a bit like Lord North. He was a horse everyone was talking about all week. They loved Jack Hobbs. And he was a very good winner, of course, for Godolphin, but this Mishriff is a little bit special. Right the way through his career, he's been a horse who just really wanted to battle, and I felt like he never really got the credit he deserved for his win over in France. He then won one of the Arc Trials, they didn't want to go to the Arc. His only bad run came on ground that was very soft on Champions Day behind a D.
Yeah, and I think there was more made of the fact that I think Frankie Dettori jocked off David Egan that day than there was on the ground. But yeah, look, he's got under the radar. He ran very well last year. I remember being out in Saudi, he ran the Saudi Derby, and he ran extremely good race. And David always liked him. Look, I think his win in the French Derby or the Prix de Jockey Club certainly went under the radar. And he, like you say, I don't think he got the credit he deserved. I don't think he actually got full credit for winning in Saudi. You know, he beat two of the best American dirt horses. And I've always said, look, very good horses will go on any surface. It's, you know, and this clearly is a very good horse. And, you know, hopefully this catapults David into the stardom that he's destined for. And like I say, I see him going down the route. Like, I expect John Gosden to work back from the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe now. You know, he perhaps may run at Royal Ascot. They might even go back to a mile and a quarter and the Juddmonte, because I'm sure pretty sure,
haven't they?
You know, I'm pretty sure Prince Faisal would want that to support that race. So, for obvious reasons. And yeah, look. He's an exciting horse, and we've seen John Gosden once again, you know, Enable's retired, and he's emerged tonight with Lord North and Mishriff to go to war with next year.
Amazing. It's not easy to win two big Group 1s here on World Cup night. What a great night for the British trainers. 2 wins for John Gosden, 1 for Mark Johnston. Good stuff. Carnival that everybody said would be dominated by Godolphin. It really wasn't, thanks to Lord Glitters and Equilateral. And then tonight, so the 1 win for Godolphin so far. Of course, they do have the favourite Mystic Guide for the Dubai World Cup coming up. Performance by Mishriff. It means the Japanese have only got one more bullet to fire, as Tiger Shea would say, which is Chua Wizard, who's possibly can be a bit forgiven his run in Saudi last time, but
yeah, you said that he actually didn't run a too bad a race. I didn't really watch him in look, I struggle to see the Japanese. Like I think they were pinning their hopes on this race.
With good
reason. Know, they've been great supporters of racing here over many years, but I think if they're, you know, look, they're only winning the World Cup came with Victor Pisa, and that was on an artificial synthetic surface.
Stunning ride as well, wasn't
it? You know, yeah. I mean, Mirko, I think, looped the field, got into the first turn, and the race was history. But yeah, I certainly, I think there's stronger claims from the States and the local horses than there are with the Japanese in the big race.
What I love about Mishriff is the way he puts his head down, and he really looks like he's trying hard. There is Ted Vouts. I'm sure it's not an easy job when you have a big owner. You've got to manage their interests and you know, plan matings and plan races, and everybody said this horse was in the wrong race.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll hold my hands up, I thought, but like I say, what do I know? That's why John Gosden is where he is. It's great because I think that the last good horse was this horse's sire that the owner had, Make Believe. So, you know, and then you have to go back a few years. Kodiak, who was out here, actually ran the Carnival. And I think the Invincible Spirit was probably the last good one. So, yeah, what a tough, genuine horse. And like you say, he's probably a jockey's dream, really, because he just gets his head down and he just wants to fight. And yeah, like I say, I think he's got a very good future going back to Europe, and you know, and he might even take in something like the Breeders' Cup Turf as well.
Yeah, that would be a nice target for him at the end of the season. It comes relatively quickly after the Arc, will be the only thing. I reckon they might give him a nice break now. We might not even see until the Juddmonte. They could go to the King George, of course. That's a nice prestigious race to win over the 1.5 miles. Another race that John Gosden's very good at
ここ
winning.
からは明日のイタテン
Beautiful
ステー
pictures
クス
of
トライア
Mishriff
ル
and
の
David
高
Egan. I
松
feel like
の
I've been
焼
looking at
き
beautiful pictures of Mishriff and David Egan
イ
all
タ
all
テン
year.
ステークストライアルなんですか
Like you say,
高松の焼き
yeah, I think the horse and like you say,
そ
David,
んなに
the Saudi race
格下なんですか
propelled him
G1 が
to stardom, and this race will, I think, elevate him even further. I mean, this has been the World Cup night. We saw the emergence of William Buick with John Gosden and Dare Mee. Oisin Murphy hit the headlines here, winning races like this. So, yeah, I think, you know, like I said before, you know, there's no one in that way who's better bred to be a jockey. So, I think he's got a very bright future ahead of him.
残ったのが
He's
ダノン
just
フ
shown
ァン
what a
タ
class
ジー
rider he
ET
is,
チャン
and
プ
he's
ラウダ
just
シオン
on a horse. He's the same as he is off it. He's very calm, collective.
レ
He
システ
gets a
ン
lot
シア
of
ミ
good
ッキー・ブ
advice
リタ
from
ン
his
ってなんで
father
すよ
John.
う
Who's
ち
still
の
riding.
ね
I haven't seen John. Is John
ダノンフ
He's
ァンタ
around
ジ
still. I
ー
think
が
he's
6
not
番で
here
しょ
this week
Right.
because of
そ
obviously
れより
the
うちはまずバ
quarantine
ッサリ消え
restrictions.
て
But
て
I read an article the other day. John said that he was going to ride till he was 60, and
それがちょっと
you know,
嫌
if
なん
anyone
です
will,
けど
it'll be
ただ
him
馬場
because
が
he,
渋
you know,
っ
he's
て
still
くれ
fit
れ
and he
ば
still strives, and I think he'll get more of a kick out of David winning this than he would have. I know the prize money was a lot more in Saudi, but
一応
you know,
調
to
べ
win
た
a
ら
World Cup night
まあ馬場
race
さえ
is
渋れ
immense.
ば
Yeah, to win a
外
Group
枠十
1.
分チャンスありって
So
いう
we're
の
having
が
a
分
little
か
look
っ
back
て
at
る
some
んで
highlights of the Longines Dubai Shima Classic. The two Japanese fillies went down on their sword, truly. Super performances from Chrono Genesis and Loves Only You. There is a Sheen Murphy. I don't think he was particularly confident about any of his chances tonight, so therefore he'd have probably been pretty happy to have finished third and picked up a nice check
モズ
there
スーパーフレア
on
とかも
Loves
今
Only
回
You.
は
There is Chrono
そ
Genesis.
こまで穴にな
She
って
might
ま
well
せん
be
し
one
ね
that we also see in the arc. They've talked about an international campaign for her later on this season. She didn't lose a great deal in defeat. Mogul was a bit
これ
disappointing.
ね
I
成分構
do
成
feel today was very
忘
much
れ
the
た頃
starting
の
point
成
for
分
him.
構成
Yeah, I thought he'd
紐
run
で
a
面
lot
白い
better
か
than
なと
that.
思っ
He
てたんです
travelled
けど
extremely
ここ
well.
もデー
Ryan
タ
was
で消え
down the
たんで
fence
すよね
and always had, you know, the
7
better
歳
horses
以
in
上
his
が
sight.
ダメなんで
He
すよ
seemed to cut out a furlong and a half
全く
down whether this was a starting block for what's going to be a tough campaign during the summer. But yeah, I would expect it. They'll be slightly scratching their head as to how he's ran. You know, like I say, I expected a little more from him. Walton Street, I thought would perform a little better, but it's ultimately come down to probably the, you know, the Mishriff we've somewhat overlooked him because of the trip, and you know, I certainly have, you know, going a mile and a half, but John Gosden's certainly got a plan for him, and it will be targeting those bigger races during the summer.
全部
It's
あでも
amazing
それ
what they've
新
done with
潟
him
か
already.
新
It
潟じゃない
really
それ福
is
島でしょ
amazing. Let's go to Stephen.
I'm joined by David Egan after the victory of Mishriff. Wow, what a month or so you've had.
Yeah, what a month or so for Mishriff. He's a tremendous horse, and just
こ
so
んな
lucky
感
to
じ
be
のイン
connected
タビ
with
ュ
such
ー
a
ある
great
かって
horse
感
and
じ
a
ですよね
great team. Mr.
な
Gosden,
んかもう
Tatey,
JRA では考えられ
Prince
ないようなこ
Faisal,
の
there's Ted Vout, who's been instrumental as well. So it's a big team win.
He had to show that dirt grinding quality at the end there almost, didn't he?
He did, didn't he? I thought the last 100 yards was going to be tough, but look, fantastic get on top. I think
今回インデ
what was
ィ
the
ーチャ
key
ンプ
today
の
was
追い
getting
切
relaxed
り
and in the
が
rhythm.
やたらと
Had
い
a
い
nice
ぞ
pitch
って
at the back of the
いう
field, and
話なんでね
he was changing legs well, and he showed a good turn of foot. It
で
was just
9番枠で
whether
し
he'd
ょ
hold on that last 100 yards
で
and
福
just his
永
grit
は
got through it.
高松宮記念相性いいんでね
Former
まあこ
UK
れ
champion
と
apprentice, of
あ
course.
と2頭
Very big fancy
軸をま
trophies
ず
we
選
have
んで
for
か
our
ら
Longines
の
Dubai
3連
Shima
単フォ
Classic.
ーメーション
Apparently, it's the Longines Dubai Shima Classic presented by Longines.
考えてます
Actually,
ね
on a serious note, they've been brilliant for horse racing. They sponsor the world's best racehorse. I say this a lot, but I love the fact that they sponsor at Sharjah.
I was just going to say that
It's really
it probably
sweet.
goes under the radar, but if it wasn't for their sponsorship
あ
at
とデ
Sharjah,
ータで
we probably wouldn't have racing there, you know.
近年のね
and
過去10
and
年
they're
っていうよ
always
りも
there
近
to
年
present
の
the
ここ
trophies.
何年
Yeah,
かの
Patrick
データ
Ayew,
だ
that gentleman
と
there, is the regional brand manager, I believe, for
Lauda
Longines.
Sion.
He never misses a meeting. He'll be there when
Lauda
there's a 0 to
Sion が
40 Arabian race
なん
at
か
Sharjah
データ
next week.
的
He'll
に
be
はい
there
いぞ
presenting the trophies. He's great. Well, Thady
十分
Gosden,
立って
we
ん
should
すよ
probably get him a chair up there. He's been up there
だから
all
本
evening.
当は
He
イ
only
ン
just
ディーチャン
finished
プ
his
と
licensing, didn't he? I think it
ダノン
was.
ス
I think
マ
it all
ス
got
と
delayed
レ
due
シ
to COVID.
レ
And
シ
he's
ステン
just
シアを
I think so, hence
まあ
why his
軸で
name isn't
組み立てる予
on
定
the
だったんですけど
license today. I'm just checking he doesn't have anything in the next race.
Yeah, I know.
Because, yeah, they're just such an amazing operation. Everybody down at Clarehaven in Newmarket, you know, they're a great team, very powerful team, and you know, for the last decade, you know, John Gosden has been able to turn out good horses year in, year out, and that's not easy to do. Most trainers would, you know,
新潟系は中
would
心
love
ですから
one of
ね。
these horses, and you know, like I say, obviously it was very upsetting
ダービ
and
ーよりも
Abel and
新
the
潟記念ですよ。
spectators to see her go, and I'd say when she left the yard, you know, he was obviously looking to see where the next one is, and we've seen two, you know, from a mile and a quarter to
これ
probably a
四
mile
日
and
市
a
の
half
コンビナート
to
今
top
これ
class individuals
この夜景
be
マ
released
ジで
on the
うちの
night
近
and
所から撮ってるこれ
emerge as like top contenders
こ
for
の夜
the
景
top grade one races, you know, around Europe and the
マ
world.
ジで
Confirmation of the result. I didn't realise the little glut of Godolphin horses in fourth because Walton Street, I thought for a moment was going to win it. He ran a blinder.
もう
He
金
ran
い
a
らんやろ
super
こい
race
つっ
and-
て感
and
じですよ
look,
ね
that's their first. You know, he had a lot to find on the form book as ratings go. You know, but yeah, look, they've proved that they're fit horses. They've been around here. Look, you take his listed handicap win on his first start. He broke the track record, but you know he's improved. He won a Group 2. He's probably ran a career best there, and I think he's another horse that will be a good contender. He might be the type of horse Charlie will look at maybe
あれこ
taking
れ
down
森
to
調教
Australia
師や
again.
ね
Something going to Hong Kong.
何やってんだこい
Champions
つ
Chater. I can't remember.
何
what horse
記
it
念
is
撮
that
影して
someone
んのこ
mentioned
の
the other
人
day that they were looking at that for a long range plan. It's one of the few mile and a half
しかも
Group
さ
ones in Hong Kong.
こ
One
の
of
な
only
んか
two, I
着
think,
物着
actually.
た人たちのさ着
And
こなし
Charlie was
絶
looking at
対
that
変よ
for
ね
one of his horses. Walton Street certainly proved he belongs at this level, and just bizarre the amount of improvement he's found at his relatively advanced stage of life at the age of 7. Full credit to the
とい
team.
うか
to
新
Moulton
潟
Palace.
以外
That's a
は
nice
笠
track.
松とどと
Beautiful. I didn't ask you how the. I know you were only.
いやいや他
on its-
そんな
on the
インサイダーで
ratings. How
馬
did
券
you
買うような
just
真似
did
し
a
ませ
dirt
んから
track for the Cahaler?
Yeah, it genuinely is. Look,
そんな
we-
イン
we-
サイダー
we
情報で
generally race
ね
here
馬券買う
most
ような
nights
ことし
is
ま
at
せんよ
6:30 start. So, you know, the race earlier, like obviously, look, we're racing at 3:45 in the afternoon. It's very
ああ
hot.
さっきの
The
着
track is
物の
very
人
dry. You know, Pat Baker and his team do their very best to
なん
get
か着こな
enough
し変
water
っす
on
よ
the
ね
track, but
あ
ultimately
れ
it dries out, and
うん
you know, it's like I've
CG じゃ
always
ない
said that the
CG じゃない
first 4 races are always slightly slower. And that's just no help.
な
That's
んか
just the
なん
weather,
か
and
ちゃい
we
ま
can't
すよ
do
ね
anything
なん
about that. But
なんか
as the
変
evening
な
goes
帽
on,
子もそう
you
だ
know,
し
the
なんか着
temperature
こな
starts
し
to
が
drop
ちゃいま
now.
すよ
It's a
ね
little bit cooler. I'd expect the track to ride a lot quicker for the big race.
Well, that will suit some of the horses, but not necessarily Jesus' team, who's trained by Jose D'Angelo, who could become the youngest ever World Cup winning trainer.
さあ50分なんであと19分ですねあと19分でメイン
He put this year
ドバイワール
all
ド
his
カップという
horses
ことで
one name of the family and finishing team like Mimina's team, Mauro's team, Franco's team, and Jesus' team.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
これ
And
マ
tell
ー
me
チ
how
ス
it-
テ
how
ーク
he's
ス
doing.
全
How's he
然見
settled
てない
into
んですよ
Maidan?
Jesus
っていうかね俺一番重要なのはね四日市特別なんで明日今日か四日市市民が四日市特別外したらこれはシャレにならんぞ本当応援馬券で単勝だけですよ日本馬のだから現在のところですね的中ゼロです的中ゼロですいつも海外の時は本当海外の馬もう分からんもんでもう日本馬の応援馬券単勝パパって買うぐらいなんですよ
And I really love what you've done with him. You've targeted this race. You said straight away, we're not going to go to Saudi, we're going to come here. So hopefully he's a little bit more fresh than some of the others.
取れると思ったんですよ最悪でも最悪でもクロノジェネシスの 1. 点何倍は取れるとシーマクラシックで思ってたんですよまさかのまさかですねそう自分が重要視してるのはね四日市特別なんですよ今日の中京は四日市市民が取れないとこれシャレにならんぞとここなんですよ重要なのは
He's a lovely horse, isn't he? He's running all the big races and he always shows up. He always runs a good race.
Yes, he has a big heart, and he likes to run. have a courage. He is a great horse.
今考えてるのは、
Yeah, good luck to them with Jesus'
単
team.
勝
He's
全
never
頭勝
won
ったろかと。
at this level. He's never won anywhere near like this level, but he does have some of the
ネ
best
タでね、
form on offer.
ネタで
In
ね、
that good
単
second
勝
in
全
the
頭勝
Pegasus
ったろ
and also
か
in the
と
Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. That's what
思
it's
って
all
るんですよ
for.
も
Well,
う。
that
いっそのこと。
6.960
まあネタとしてありやな
is
と
what you get if you win.
思ってるんで、
What would you reckon?
まあ
Can it
そ
go
う
to
したろう
military
かな
law?
と。
Yeah, it'd be
NASA's had a
great.
good night.
It'd be great, wouldn't it? One for the home team. We've gone
まあ
to
こ
war
れ
in
で
this race
単
many
勝万馬
years.
券が
It's
来たら
we
超ラッキーじゃないで
Saeed's
す
won
か
it。plenty of
もう
times.
ガミ
We
覚悟で
never
ね。
really consider him as a local trainer. So he's a horse that handles the track. I thought he actually ran very well in Saudi Arabia. He was sixth. Look, who knows? It's I think he's got as good a chance as any. It's you know, every year there's a sort of a standout class horse in the race. I think it's wide open this year. You know, there's half a dozen in there that could win it.
Yeah, it's so open. There's 5 Group or Grade 1 winners in there. Possibly my
はい、4日市だから
idea
4と
of what would be the
1の
most
組み合わせを変えって
sentimental
ことで
winner
しょ
would be a Giusto
それも思っ
Fiscal.
たん
I'd
すけ
love
ど
him to win it for the
ね
Antonio Sintra team. I don't think he can, really, but he is a dual Grade 1 winner from
確
Uruguay.
実に当
Lots
て
of
るんだ
cleaning
っ
and
たら
sanitizing going on, as you would expect. They've been
単
very
勝
hot and
全
things
頭
like
買い
that,
じゃ
the
ないです
Maidan
か
team. I just think it's ripe for
単
an
勝
upset, isn't it? I
単
just
勝
can't
全
work out
頭
where
買い
it's
か
going
ら
to come
当
from.
たるじ
No,
ゃ
I'm
ん
the same.
ガミ覚悟で
I was talking to a friend of mine earlier on in the night, and I said there'll be
So-
some strange results this evening.
こ
I
れ
just
で
don't see where
ね
it's coming from.
外したら
Look,
四
like
日
you
市
say,
市長の
Jesus'
森
team
君
brings
に
some
怒られる
good
んでね
form from the US. Obviously, was second in the Pegasus.
四日市市長あれですよ
Sleepy
俺
Eyes
と
Todd.
ため
There
か
was a lot
俺
made of
の
it
ちょっ
that
と
he
下
was
ぐらいなんです
unlucky in
年が
Saudi.
あい
I've
つ
yet to see where.
あいつ言うとるし
Look, Mystic Guide brings some good form in. He still has to step up to the plate and prove. Look, there's a man there that just looking over to my right that has won it before. And if there's going to be a surprise, I think it could come from hypothetical.
つか飯屋
Simon
ってどう
Mignolet
なっ
was
とるん
so
ですかね
confident when I went to see him the other day. He
全部やって
we
るん
didn't
か
take
な
a camera.
飯
I
屋
just sort of went on a slightly social visit, and
あの
he was
競
just
馬
all he
場
wanted to
内
talk
の
about was hypothetical. And he had Panadol in the derby, and he said he's going to run a big race. And I said, no, Asylum, it's a year too soon. Next year will be a serious World Cup
も
horse.
う
And
気
he's
に
like,
なる
no,
んですよね
this year.
大体
Yeah,
俺
and I
中京
think
行っ
he
た
has
ら
every right to be confident because, like I
吉
say,
野家
there's
か
not one
ケン
horse
タッ
in
キ
the
ー
race
なんです
that
よ
really stands out.
競馬場の中の
You know, you
スタン
can
ドの
pick
2
holes
階にある
in most of the horses, really.
やってるかな
Like I say, Mystic Guide, you know, he's a grade 2, grade 3. Not sure he hasn't won a grade 1 yet.
He hasn't won a grade
No.
1. He won the grade 2. Jim Dandy would be his sort of biggest achievement, and then he was second in the grade 1 jockey club, but it was a pretty poor renewal of the jockey club.
Yeah.
He's an exciting horse, but let's get more on this race from Stephen.
We're around about 10 minutes away then from the big one. The $12 million Dubai World Cup sponsored by Emirates Airline. The anticipation building in what is becoming an ever-increasing busy parade ring. Let's show you the conditions then for the finale. As I said, we've got $12 million on offer. Prize money unaffected in this race and all the way down to 8th place.
しか
And
も
there
ゾ
will
ロ
be
ゾロ入れやなあかん
14 of them going in search of it.
ゾロ入れって
Headed by number 1, Gustavo Fiscal, the mount of Wagner Leal for Antonio Sintra. 2 is Capizano, will break from stall 7. A likely pace angle for Royston French and Salem Bingadea. 3 is Chuo Wizard. Katie Tasaki rides that one. Gifts of Gold is the mount of Christophe Soumillon, will break from the widest gate in stall 14. Great stop. On the inside, Frankie Dettori riding for Abdullah Mishrif. Hypothetical is alongside him in 2. Mikhail Barcelona rise. Jesus' team is the mount of Jean Rosario. Just heard about him. Magni Corps, one of 2 in the race for Godolphin. Then Military Law, Nasser Asker in search of his second winner on the night. The other Godolphin runner is Mystic Guide. Then we've got Salute the Soldier, Sleepy Eyes Todd, the Great Collection, and finally Title Ready, who is the mount of Ryan Moore.
What a beautiful trophy it is for the Dubai World Cup. First run in 1996. You've ridden in it 2 or 3 times? North America was almost favourite one year, wasn't
North America twice. Surfer ran it once, and I think I rode 4 times. Richard's Kid I rode as well.
Richard's Kid, yeah.
He wasn't named after me.
No, I remember you saying you thought you should have had the ride on the basis of the name,
Yeah.
and you got it anyway.
I did, yeah. But yeah, he ran it once. He ran it twice. 1 year I didn't ride him, but he, 4 times I rode in it.
He was a really little horse, wasn't he? Started out in the States and then joined Satish. Giuseppe Fiscal, as I mentioned, is a dual Grade 1 winner from Uruguay. He won the Jose Pedro Ramirez Stakes. That was back in January of 2020. He missed Super Saturday with a really minor thing. So
Yoshida
he's been quite well held, if we're honest. The two starts here today. Any extra trip will suit him, though.
I think so. He looked like he was staying on behind Salute. He's got to find, you know, like any of them, they've got to be on their A game tonight. He's one that, you know, I think could fill the minor places up.
Wow, Capizano looks absolutely amazing. He is a six-time course winner. He was favourite for this race in 2019 when he didn't make the lead, and we're kind of banking on him to go forward here, aren't we? That's just what he does.
Yeah, I'd always watch the horse in the paddock. He doesn't look at the Capizano of old, where he's very aggressive in the paddock, very upset. Now, whether that changed when Royston gets on his back, but to me, he's always been at his best when he is able to, when he is overexcited and he's able to dominate things. I would expect him to press for the lead, but like I say, you know, it depends on how his attributes are once Royston mounts him. But at the moment, he's looking a little bit too calm and collected for me.
Taking the hood off, which is interesting, because when he suddenly started kind of rapidly improving, that the hood was the reason for that. So there's Jose Francisco D'Angelo, who has the extremely valuable assistance of Dubai World Cup winner Joel Rosario. This is gifts of gold. Saeed has won this race 9 times, so I'm not going to question much he does, but he's very up against it.
Very much so. I think he ran in round 1, didn't he, of the Maktoum Challenge, and he was beaten a distance behind Military Law. They then they stepped him right up in the staying race in Saudi, and Patsy rode him, gave him a lovely ride. That was on turf. I think it's just the fact that I think Saeed's had a runner in the race every year. It's every renewal of the race. So I think it's more the fact that we need a runner in it, as opposed, I would be shocked if he's able to perform on the night. I've been shocked many times before, but I'd be very, very surprised if he was able to lay it down.
Great Scott looks like he's about to send a few people scattering in the parade ring. He's to be trained by Tom Dusk on that horse. Super third in the Saudi Cup, form which has been franked, we should probably point out. Certainly no concerns about horses coming here from Saudi, but Mishraf went home. It's even more crazy that horse managed to win tonight when you consider what he's been through in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. He's done a lot of travelling. He's proved it. I mean, but yeah, like you say, this horse, although I think he had the home advantage that day, he's used to the track. He's got the added assistance, obviously, of Frankie on board, and he's got a great draw in stall 1. Be interesting to see what Frankie does from that position, whether he presses or just takes a sit off. Hypothetical and Capizano.
で現地が2017年の12月の中京開催一番最後以来です。
A lot of the others, military law especially, but I would see military law reversing placings with him.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think Great Scott's up against it, especially looks like he's running his race before. Jesus seems a great one week he really has. He's a little bit of a doubtful stayer, actually. He was kind of running on. He looked like he probably did want the extra trip behind Nick's Go in the Pegasus. That was over 1,800 metres. Andre Favre is very keen to win the World Cup. He's had a number of attempts at it with Talismanic, had a similar profile to Maggie Cool. Vadamos Meandra, who was 6th, that's his best ever placing in the race. I know he's bred for dirt, Magdalene Calls, but I just can't have him. It's so difficult in this company.
No, his pedigree is all dirt. I mean, Dagadora is out of an AP Indy mare. But two things surprised me. One, Mikel Barcelona is riding Hypothetical, and I know he rides for Salambin Gadea, but he's contracted Andre
I was very surprised.
William Buick has obviously come in for the mount, but I'd be shocked if a horse coming from France. It's more the style of the way this race will be ran. I think he'll be out of his comfort zone from the word go. The outside store probably help him in that he won't get the kickback, but I just can't see it happening.
Well, this is Mystic Guide, who is a favourite and kind of deserves to be, but it's mostly on connections and how exciting he is. He won the Razorback by 6 lengths last time. It was on a sloppy track and he did get the perfect trip. Lewis Sayers is on board. He could just be too good here, Mystic Guide. But for me, he just has a little bit to prove tonight. Sleepy Eyes Todd Another one came out of the Saudi Cup goes for trainer Miguel Silva.
自
His
分も
first
だか
run
ら
here
そ
in
の前回の
Dubai. He did get
2017
quite
年
badly
12月行った
squeezed.
時に
And then he
初
was
め
on the
て
sort of
その
what I
勝
think
ち
was a
馬
bit of a
ビュー
dead
っ
rail,
て
which is the same
言
excuse
っ
for
て
Chua Wizard.
こん
All
なん
the
でき
same,
たん
I
や
think
っ
he's
て
going to struggle to win this. And
感動
poor
しま
old
した
Great
ね
Collection
マイレ
never
ース
gets
俺
any
言ってま
credit.
し
I
た
don't
もん
think he should be the outside of
マ
the
イレー
whole
ス終
lot.
わったら言っ
Do
て
you
ま
know
したも
what?
ん
I've
そこ
actually
まで
I've been very
見
critical
に
of
見
this horse in the past, but he's actually the
ちょうど
one
その
horse
時
in the
中
race.
京は
For some strange reason, I keep going back
もう
to
特別
is
戦
because
し
he's
かなか
actually
っ
the
たん
one
で
horse in the race that actually wants to
で
run this
表
trip.
開催の
And
阪神で
you know, I've been critical in the past in the fact
フュ
that
ーチリティステー
he
クスか
doesn't, he's
2
never
歳
backed
G1
up a
の
whole
やって
season.
たんで
This year he seems to have got his act together. Pat Cosgrave gets
そ
on
うですよね
really,
快
really
適
well
で
with
しょう
him.
ね
He actually ran, look, he was fourth behind Salute
だ
the
からいつ
Soldier
もよ
in
りも
round
多分駐
3.
車場出るのも早くなる
I
し
followed him into the first turn. He actually got the bit through the mouth. His
1号
bit
線出
slid
るのも
right
早
through
く
his
なるんじゃ
mouth.
ない
So
かなと思ってます
Pat Dobbs for 3 or 4
昔は
furlongs of
本
the
当
race
出れ
was
なかっ
trying
た
to
んで
get
す
the
よ
horse,
昔つか
get the
通常
bit
開
back
催
through,
は
get him organised, get him back on the
だから
lead.
本
So
当
that
ね
spent a lot of energy. I
なん
just
か
think
裏
this
道
horse
っつう
finishes
か
his races off
も
really,
う
really well.
違う道
And
走
I'm
っ
not
て
saying
も
he'll
うとん
win,
でも
but
ないと
I
こと
think
か走ってましたもん俺
he should not be the
まだ
outsider
だ
of
から
them
本
all.
当
And
大昔なんで
if there's going to be a
カー
real
ナビ
big
とかも
upset,
普及
I
する
think it'll
前の
come from this
話
horse.
Well, it will be quite the
俺
upset.
どこ走ってんだと思うような道
Braves,
普通に走ってまし
could
た
have
か
just
ら
got in
ね
the mile where he'd have run
も
a
う
place,
全
I'm
然
sure.
動か
He's
な
like,
いん
nah,
で
I'm going for the big one, the World Cup. Good luck to them.
1号線の方
Great
に
supporter of
向
Dubai
かう道
Racing. He
じゃ
just
な
saw
くて
title ready
い
as
や別の
well.
なんか
As
細
I
い
look
道
back
と
at
か走って
all
ま
the
した
World Cups so far,
うん
my favourite winner is Cigar.
そういう
Even
こ
though I
とも
wasn't
する
here
必
because
要
I
も
think
ない
without
と思い
him
ま
the
す明
race
日
wouldn't
は
have the
明日と
prestige
か
it
今日
does
か
now. He was
なんか
just
もう明日
brilliant,
って言
and
って
I
しまう
also
けど
thought Arrogate was amazing, and I love Thunder Snow. Any particular favourites for you?
Look, you'd always have to sway towards the American horses. They're
明日だけ
dominant
でも
force in
本
their
馬
own
場入
country.
場
But
の
the
曲
fact
を
that
ね
I'm not
昔に
sure
戻
any
して
of
く
them
れ
have
んか
won
な
a Grade 1, have they? I don't think Jesus'
ど
team
っ
has.
ちかって
He
いうと
has
そ
a-
っちの
no,
曲の方が好き
The,
なん
the,
ですよ
top, the horse at the top of the market, none of them have won a Grade 1. The Grade 1 winners are Agiste Fiscal, Capizano, Chua Wizard.
Yeah, I mean, which
こい
tells
つ
me
に
that
連れ警備員に
the
連
one
れて
thing
かれ
that
て
I
こ
swayed
れ
from
され
the
る
Jesus team is that Joel Rosario's
や
riding
ばい
him,
っすね
Louis Sizer's
いや
opted
俺
to
は大
ride
丈夫っす
Mystic
け
Guy.
ど周り
Gerard
がね
Ortiz has ridden him in the past.
周り
Would
が
they
どう
have
な
come
ん
if
だっ
they
て思
thought
っ
he was
て
a
るんで
leading
すよね
contender in it? I don't know. It's just an open race. Look, I'd love to see.
ああ日
Quite
本
sure what's going on, but the horse,
ま
some of the
あ
horses
だから
have
香
gone back
港
into
と
the
か
pre,
ドバイ
into
は
whereas
どっ
the
ち
sort
か
of
っていうと短い
unsaddling
ん
for
で
the
しょ
also
確か
runs, including the Great Collection, has
日
gone
本
into
の
there.
ような感じで
Yeah, they're not following the
I
parade in
think there's
order.
a
で
loose horse on
ヨーロ
the
ッパ
track.
と
Great
か
Scott has got loose. Great Scott was being very hard to handle in the parade ring, so it looks like we might have a bit of delay before our Dubai World Cup. So
この
a
人
couple of the jockeys and the
本
horses
当
have
こ
gone back
こういう
into
過
the
激なこと
unsaddling
平気で
area.
言うんで
Pat Cosgrave has hopped off the
まあ
Great
気にしない
Collection.
でくだ
Frankie's
さい
okay. That's the good news. But yeah, Great Scott was getting really upset in the parade ring. They mounted him in the chute, and he's now gone off on the track and
そうだから
maybe
あれでし
scratched.
ょだ
I'm
から
not
フラン
sure.
スとか
So
イギリス
that's
と
why
か
it
だっ
looks
た
like we have
ら
a bit of a
深い芝
delay. Interesting
ア
that
メリカか
Pat Cosgrave's
と
opted
か
to get off
だったら深い
the
芝
Great
で
Collection.
ね
Whereas
だから凱旋
rider
門
of
も日本の馬ってなかなか
I'm
勝
just
てないで
looking
す
at
からね
military law. He
Japanese
just
horses
looks
still on
so relaxed in himself. Out of all
he's
the
I've been here
horses,
before, done this before.
where I've been there, and he's just got such a great attitude. You know, there's a few of them getting warm, a little bit jig joggy. He's just walking around around like, you know, it's just another race, and you know, I love that. And as a jockey, you want your horse to be relaxed. You want them, you know, taking it all in.
Capizano's now going a little bit loopy. Is that loopy enough for you?
Yeah, that's
あ、これあれでしょ
He's dangerous
向こうのなんか航空会社の CA さんでしょ確か俺見たことあるなんかで
But he's dangerous. He is the angle, the pace
そうです
angle
ね
around the
JRA は
horse.
特にね 硬いっすよね言われてますもんね
And that's the interesting
危
thing.
ないって
Well, obviously we don't know if Great Scott's running, but
やっぱり
I think
芝
with
のクッ
Frankie,
ション
and I
が
think, you know,
あまり効かなくなるから硬
where's
い硬くな
Christoph
って
drawn in 14?
馬に負担がかかって
I wouldn't be
危ない
surprised if you don't see Christoph trying to do a thunder snow and going out from the
そういうスピ
outside
ード
and trying to look. He stays
に
extremely well.
重視しす
He
ぎ
won over
ている
3,000 meters,
が
so
あまり
it's
馬に
going to
負
be.
担かけす
I
ぎて
think
る
the orders side has obviously given to Christoph will be keep out a kickback, you know, and try and get him into a nice
そ
rhythm.
れあんだけ
I
時計
think
出
from
ますよ
14 he's going to try to go
ねえ
forward, but I think Capizano will force the issue. I think Mikel will just, you know, take a sit on the rail in behind him.
If he can win this on Gifts of Gold, he deserves a knighthood. Let's hear from Stephen.
I'm joined by Michael Stidham, of course, trainer of Mystic Guide. Not an ideal prep for him, but he seems to be handling it all right.
Yeah, he's doing well, and we're just wanting to get on the racetrack and let's see what happens.
An honor for you to have a runner for Godolphin here at the big night at their home track.
Tremendous honor to be here and to have a horse in the race for Sheikh Mohammed is a wonderful thing.
And he's had a good build up to the race, Mystic Guide?
He has, very, very good. He had a big race at Oaklawn, and then he's trained well coming into this.
We wish you all the best and great to see you here.
Thank you so much.
Great to hear from Michael Stidham. It's his first time ever travelling a horse outside of North America. Best of luck to them. They'll bring the house down, to be honest, if they can win this with this exciting Godolphin homebred. Mystic Guide, who's out of a mare called Music Note, is a 5-time Grade 1 winner. He's the son of Ghost Zappa. He's 3 from 7 career, and they skipped a lot of big targets with him. They just wanted to keep him right, get him safe. They could have run him in the Breeders' Cup Classic. They said, no, he's not ready. Give you some form from America. This is Nixco winning the Pegasus, beating Jesus' team, who he's got a very high action, hasn't he? Quite a nice action. He's not exactly finishing with a wet sail like he wants to go a bit further for me.
No, he looks like he's just about clung on. If anything, Nixco is tying up. You know, he's probably flattered the distance he's, or the margin now that he's finished to him. It's just interesting. I'm looking across there.
Yeah.
Seeing a couple of the jockeys have got off their horses. Pat Cosgrave's got off the Great Collection, so he's being led around where we normally unsaddle.
Yeah, and a lot of Adri's opted to stay on board, as has Katie Sasaki, who rides Chua Wizard. Everyone's different, I suppose. But it's quite a significant hold. Great Scott's still loose, so we just saw him galloping down the back straight, looking ever so happy. And we've got outriders. We've got about 6 outriders, but they're supposed to be the Americans, so hence.
To be fair, none of the horses actually look like they're getting upset.
No, everyone's quite happy.
They're quite happy to just keep walking around now.
We are at post time now, so we're going to have a bit of a delay. There's Magdalene Court, who had a nice little gallop on the dirt here the other day. I'm assuming he's
body language says that doesn't run.
No. Frankie looks pretty dejected, but he's won a big race tonight, so it's not all bad, and he's okay, and the horse is okay, so just hasn't been caught. So, yeah, not ideal circumstances. Yeah, Frankie's now coming back behind us, so no Great Scott, who's pretty much done the course and distance.
You're doing right. You're 50.
And Frankie's just coming back, so he's a bit of a lunatic, this horse. Yeah, which is strange because he used to be trained in England, as I said, by Tom Dascombe. He's a gelding, a 5-year-old gelding.
I think Frankie's no better riding horses like that at the age of 50.
Frankie's all right. There's a look at Title Ready. I'd love them to win this, the Title Ready team. Dallas Stewart, he's tried a couple of times. Charles Fitzke has been a massive supporter of racing here in Dubai. Hypothetical. It's a horse that they thought was a Derby horse at one point when he was trained by John Gosden. And he proved he stays this trip last time with that good second behind Salute the Soldier in round 3. We haven't spoken much about Salute the Soldier. Not sure he's going to be quite good enough, but he's a course and distance winner.
Yeah, I would question that the last run in that. I think it was kind of gifted. It was a great Adri ride from the front. I don't think he's certainly not going to get it his own way. He had it out in front easy. No one really took him on, and we went pretty slow. That's not going to be the case today. I still personally think him as a miler, a good miler. Yeah, I know he's won over 2,000 meters, but I just believe that, like I say, he had it pretty much his own way when he won round 3 of the Maktoum Challenge. But he's certainly a live contender, and like I say, what we keep going back to, what is a very open race. But I just think Adji would have loved to have been drawn lower and been able to sort of dictate things. He knows Capizano's going to go forward, and I just don't think that it's going to go. You know, they're going to have Adri. He's not going to have it as easy as he did the last day.
No, he's not. He really isn't. And Fauzi did seem quite dejected after the draw. Title Ready going down quite quickly with the pony. There is Salute the Soldier. who was a little bit buzzy himself. We usually see him go straight out. He'll come into the parade and go straight out. He won't circle like the others.
He seems to have taken it pretty. I mean, what's happened and the delay, like I say, none of the horses seem to have been affected by it. And you think something like him, he might have got on edge, and even Capizano hasn't seemed to get upset with the proceedings and the delay that they had.
Military law, not a bother on him, as you say. I assume they've caught Great Scott. We haven't had a camera on him at all. I'm assuming they've caught him because they're now going behind the gates. So looking like they're going to load in a lackadaisical manner, which is good. People watching around the world. They've done a very good job to keep the time already. I think that's him right the way around. I hope it's not one of the runners right the way around the back anyway. I think they've caught him around the back straight there, so that's good. First ever World Cup ride for Pat Cosgrave. He's kept the ride on this horse, who he gets on very well with, actually. He won the listed Creek Mile, beating Secret Ambition, actually.
Yeah, you could run your form book round Secret Ambition. He's just a solid horse. And yeah, he beat him at the beginning of the season. And, he ran well behind Military Law in round 1 of the Maktoum Challenge, and he's like I say, he's been ultra consistent because he was only a length behind Salute the Soldier in round 3 and then round 2, and then obviously, like I say, Pat Dobbs had those difficulties when the bit went through his mouth in round 4 or round 3.
You could see that from your horse, could you?
Well, I could see. I knew Pat was having trouble. I'd see. I was right behind him, and I was kind of wondering what was going on. And he'd said afterwards that the horse ran the bit right the way through, and he was just trying to get out the whole time. He was making, Dobbsy's life not very nice at all.
No. It's a genuine excuse, isn't it? The horse ran a very good race, all things considered. 3 ex-Europeans, or current European in the case of Maggie Cause, behaving beautifully. Mystic Guide quite worked up, hasn't he? The outriders did a good job to hold on to him. He's calmed down a little bit now.
Yeah, he's on his toes. I'm not sure what he's like in America. That's his style. He gets warm and joggy. Sleepy Eyes Todd has been taking it in. He's taken everything in all week. Well, since he arrived from Saudi, he's just posing for the cameras every morning. And he seems to just, he's such a natural. Like it's another day at the races for him.
Yeah, he's a lovely horse. He really is. He's just the love of Miguel Silva's life. I said to him, this is the best horse you've ever trained. He said, by Mars. That's what I love about the Dubai World Cup meeting. You get trainers come over here with what is very much their best horse. They're young trainers, they're unknown trainers. Really, in the case of Miguel Silva, he wasn't really well known in the wider world. Likewise, Jose D'Angelo. So it's nice. It brings together different nationalities. We have the Japanese runner, Chugo Wizard, won the Champions Cup, formerly the Japan Cup Dirt.
Capizano, like you say before, Laura, with the it's a platform for horses, but it's also a platform, and like we say for David Egan, it's a platform for these young trainers. To get on the world stage. So it's great, and it's been so well supported with obviously all the restrictions we've had around the world. All through the card this evening, from France all the way, to the US, to Argentina and Japan have been very supportive, so it's a multicultural card.
It is, and we've had quite a multicultural bunch of winners, really. 3 for the UK was probably beyond most people's wildest dreams. 1 for the UAE, 1 for Godolphin. That's always good. We started out with 1 for France, Derian in the Fahela. And it looks like we are now going to move forward. We're going to be around about 10 minutes late. Biggest race of the year, run in Dubai. You could still argue it's the biggest race in the Middle East. And it does carry Group 1 status, which the Saudi Cup doesn't yet. Oh, I'm just not going to offer a selection because I keep getting things wrong. But no, I've been with Jesus' team all week. The more I look at Military Law, though, the more I think he's going to run a massive race.
I just think he's going to run a huge race. I'd love to see it for we've seen Antonio have a Group 1 winner, but I think, for the home team, he's him or the Great Collection. You'd love to see it for Doug as well, but just the way he's taken the whole proceedings. Like I was speaking to Antonio, he's very confident with the horse, and I think he's going to run a huge race. I'm going to go with him.
Okay, so can he win it for Masaba Al-Maheri? Not too many more to load. Let's go to Craig Evans for the call of the 25th Dubai World Cup.
Scott came out at 8:48 after galloping 2 circuits of the track. Now Mystic Guide with the white blinkers about to come forward goes up. Salute the Soldier, Hosta Fiscal will be the final two along with Gifts of Gold. So we're almost set to run now. Last couple coming forward. Hosta Fiscal's drawn wide of the track. Gifts of Gold to come forward has drawn the outermost gate in 14, now 13. One's got underneath the front. Military Law has snuck underneath the front of the gate. Some more drama here.
なんか立ち上がろうとしそうなのもおるし。
Underneath the front of the gates and has galloped off. Antonio Freshu unfortunately looks to have just hurt a leg there, but this is terrible bad luck for all concerned with Military Law. Getting underneath the front of the stalls and they're galloping off. And we'll just have to wait and see what they do with the remaining runners here. They may well have to back them out. Stand by, we'll get word through from the stewards in just a moment.
まだ体勢が整ってないみたいですね。全部入ってない。
Oh, what a shame for the connections of Military Law. It looks as if he's got under the gate, and we were just saying how well the horse had behaved all night. Dejection for Antonio Fresu. He loves this horse. He rides him every morning. The horse never turns a hair. He's going to have to be scratch Richie, we think, as per the rules, if he's burst through the gate.
Pretty much, look, I'm not...
That's the rule in England,
that's
isn't
the rule over here in every other meeting that we've had. If one goes up in the gate or goes under, they generally scratch by the starter. So, I'm not sure. Look, first and foremost, they catch the horse and he's okay. Luckily, we've seen Antonio, he's on his feet, and he didn't go under with him, but yeah, it's just very uncharacteristic as a horse. I think they have to take them out because of the delay. They haven't caught the horses yet.
He's had a good go. He's probably heading home to Oasis Stables, which isn't very far away from here. It's so uncharacteristic. The horse has behaved like an absolute pro all night. He's just a lovely horse. It's not like him. He's probably just got spooked or whatever. They'll catch him, she says. No. He's off again.
Oh, they've got him.
Oh, dear. Oh,
just get him
terrible
into a corner.
for everyone. This was his year to win it because it'll be tougher next year. Anyway, he's all right. That's the main thing. Everybody's okay. So they had to back them out. Now, I find when this happens, there's often an advantage for horses who haven't already loaded. And I'm not sure who that is. So it's not much use to you.
I think the only one that hadn't been loaded was, I think they'd all been loaded, or Christoph. I think he was the last one to be loaded. Gifts of Gold. I think because he was in 14, he was the last to be loaded.
Let's mess with horses' heads a bit when this happens. So you often see it in the mornings, don't you, that, and you will have been a big part of this, of course, that the people will gate school their horses and they will back them out rather than break them from the gates.
Yeah, we do a lot of gate schooling in Zabeel. You know, some horses take to it very well. I know in America they gate school them an awful lot and they bring them out the back. So, you know, you're just now looking at what horses have been upset by what's happened because we had the delay beforehand with obviously Frankie's horse loose, and now we've got Antonio's horse has got loose. Hopefully they've caught him, and yeah, it's just they seem to be pretty okay. They're all sensible. Generally they've done this a lot before. Mystic Guy's probably a little bit fractious, but you said he was like that before they went into the gates.
He was. It won't have made him any better. It seems his team is handling it reasonably well.
これあれですよね。変換ありますね。
Bizarre set of circumstances tonight for Antonio Fresu. He wins his first Grade 1 on a horse that wins by a mile. Then breaks down. That almost never happens. Then he goes into the World Cup on a live chance on a horse who behaves beautifully all the time. And the horse breaks through the gate. Absolutely crazy. It's been a strange night. It really has. It was always going to be a bit of a World Cup out of the ordinary, wasn't it?
It's something that you hate to see on any occasion, at any rate. They're obviously going without him because they're loading back up now.
I'm guessing he's been caught. We can't see him from where we are, but he looked like he was coming to a sort of fairly natural halt. So we go without Military Law and Great Scott. We're taking much eyes. Jesus' team goes forward. So,
馬の方が拒否ったんですかね。来たね。
He's got a Mystic Guide is not behaving particularly well.
さあまた枠入りが始まりました。
Won't be taking part in the race, unfortunately. Just devastating for connections.
法馬の馬はもう強制的に馬体検査とか何もなしの取り消しとかなのかな。
He's only a 6-year-old, and Still an improving horse potentially on this surface. Giusto Fiscal is nicely. So Salute the Soldier, actually. They would have been concerned with him being quite buzzy.
Yeah, and he seems to be taking it all well. You know, like I say, the only horse that looks to be a little bit fractious is this Mystic Guide. But whether that's just his characteristics anyway, he's like that, like he said beforehand, before they loaded first time around. He was a little bit on his toes. You know, like I say, I don't know too much about him, so maybe he's like that. But generally, you don't see, you know, the American horses are very well gate scored. They don't tend to. The only thing different, they've been schooling them this week because the gates are somewhat smaller than what they are used to in America.
Well, we try again for the 25th anniversary of the Dubai World Cup.
Few vacant, unfortunately.
結構なんとか立ち上がろうとしてたでしょ。
Gate 1 and Gate 5 will be empty. We're almost set.
なんかもうシンバか未勝利かってレベルの
Gifts of Gold coming
なん
along.
かキャリアの浅い馬が
Inside on there for
出
Christoph
ているような
Simeon.
感じのさあ
Gifts of Gold
高
to
速の
take up
馬
a
が
spot.
入って
And for the
これ
25th
で体
time,
勢
the
完
Dubai
了で
World
すかね
Cup field is set. Ready,
スタートしました
racing in the Dubai World Cup, the Great Collection, Capizano away quickly with Mystic Guide, Hypothetical hard ridden off the inside. Chua Wizard's going to be handy, Salute the Soldier's going to drop across behind them. Jesus' team title ready, Magnicor out wider, Gifts of Gold is going up deep with Sleepy Eyes, Totter, Husta Fiscal. The Great Collection bounced okay, but bounced back to the rear. Out of the straight they go in the Cup, and Hypothetical found the front over Capizano in second. Mystic Guide up to third from Chua Wizard. Next of all is Salute the Soldier around Jesus' team and title ready, then Gifts of Gold. Next of all as they race into the back straight is Magnicor with the white cap. They were followed by the Great Collection down on the inside of Sleepy Eyes Todd, and a Husta Fiscal was at the rear. 25-13 was the lead as they run down the back behind a Hypothetical from Macau, Barcelona. Led over the stablemate in second, Capizano. Up on the outside is Mystic Guide, followed by Chua Wizard, then came Salute the Soldier. Gifts of Gold on a wide trip around the outside. Jesus' team trying to work off the fence. Magnicor is picking up ground, then title ready, Sleepy Eyes Todd. The Great Collection and a Husta Fiscal. Turning down the side in the Cup, and the front runner is Hypothetical, but Mystic Guide travels up strongly on the outside. Chua Wizard down on the fence, followed by Salute the Soldier. Capizano gives it away, followed then by Magnicor under pressure. On the outside of it is Gifts of Gold. Jesus' team trying to pick its way through, then the Great Collection and a Husta Fiscal title ready, and back and behind them was Sleepy Eyes Todd. They turn into the footsteps of history, and it's Mystic Guide going up to challenge Hypothetical. Then Sleepy Eyes Todd, Chua Wizard continues to come on, then Magnicor. Jesus' team are down the outside, but Mystic Guide races away in the Cup inside the 200 metres mark, gets away by three. Chua Wizard, Hypothetical, Salute the Soldier, Magnicor, but it's going to be a Godolphin win, a Godolphin USA win. Mystic Guide charges away and takes the Dubai World Cup. Mystic Guide wins easily. Second, Chua Wizard, third in Magnicor, then Hypothetical. Jesus' team, Salute the Soldier, the Great Collection, Husta Fiscal, Gifts of Gold, Sleepy Eyes Todd, and well back was title ready. Last
amazing. He ran a fantastic race.
Everything that went on before just added to your
A lot of concern going, you know, in the post parade and everything that happened, but it worked out in the end.
And this horse taking you to special places already, but just where else can you go?
愛用時の住職 こいつ喜んでますよ
Thank you.
Many congratulations.
Thank you とか言ってますよ
What a performance by Mystic Guide. He might have got upset before. He might have never won a grade one before. It did not matter.
JR オッズでも一番人気ミスティックガイド
It was perfectly placed by Louis Saez throughout the race.
強かったです
And I think, you know, the American horse's class just took its toll in the end. He's a horse that I know he's not won a grade one. He has now.
そうですね、シルバーコレクターですよね
as a major player going back to the
レ
States.
ッド
And
2
I think you'll
着
see him in
黒
the
のテネ
top
シス
grade
2
one
着
races. You know, Breeders' Cup, all those races. He looks like he's
あ
he's
と
improving.
そうだバンド
He
ギャルド
travelled
も
with
2着だ
supreme confidence throughout.
ね
Pure Wizard, I thought, ran on really well to be second.
ちょっと
But yeah, it was
で
only
も
ever
な
going to
ん
be
か
one winner.
こういうのも珍
It
しい
was
です
a
よ
really
ね
good performance by this colt son of Ghost Zappa, homebred by Godolphin in America. They've got some very nice horses over there at the moment. Prevalence, Proxy, Maxfield. This is the one they decided to bring here, and it has worked out beautifully. For Michael Stimmy. Never travelled a horse outside
どこ
North
かで聞いたことあ
America
る。
before the horse came over. It was kind of quiet week. I think he even missed a day on
住
the
職
main
頭
track.
丸めろや。
There was
丸
no
めてた
suggestion
やないで
that
すか
all
さっ
wasn't
き。
well, but it
重
wasn't
そう反ってたやないで
the
す
sort
か
of。prep
丸
that
め
we
て
often
反って
see
たや
from
ん。
a
反っ
Dubai
てま
World
したよ
Cup
完全
winner,
に。
but it didn't matter. He had the raw
テレンテ
talent,
レンに反って
and
ま
all
した
their
よ。
patience last year in skipping the big targets has now really paid off.
いやー
Absolutely, yeah, like you say,
勝て
Laura.
ま
He's
せん
come
でしたね
in
今年ね。
a little bit under the radar, really, in that he wasn't the most photogenic horse all week, and we didn't see him out on the track most of the time, and he's just kind of gone about and done his thing, and the prep was obviously done in the States. Like you say, Michael Stidman's never travelled anything out of North America
3着
before.
が
I'm
マニ
certainly
ークー
thinking
ル。
he might be a horse that will
マ
come
ニー
back
ク
for
ー
a,
ル。
a tilt at another go.
マ
And
ニークール。
look,
5番
His
人
Highness
気だ
Sheikh
か
Mohammed and
ら。
Godolphin have been dominant in this
1
race,
番
you
人
know,
気、
since the
4 番
Niagara
人気、
run
5
when it
番
was
人気。
Cigar one.
硬い決着です
And
ね。
I think this is another one that I think has got a bright future. He's a ghost sapper as well. So, look, I think all the planning that they missed big targets for him in the US, had him coming here fresh. I think he's he was perfectly trained by Michael Stidman.
3連単。
The
これでも
favourite wins the big race.
187 倍
It's
つ
not
き
been
ま
the
す。
easiest of night probably for favourite backers. That said, Mishriff would have been quite well fancied early on. But we had a big upset, of course, in the Shaheen with Zendon was a big prize in that one. Even Secret Ambition was a fairly big prize. Louis Saez, best known perhaps as the jockey of Maximum Security, proper top-class jockey in the States, but his first time ever riding here in Dubai.
Yeah, I think he's a jockey that's come on the scene. I believe Kieran McLaughlin is now booking his ride.
He is. He'll be very happy.
そうそうゴールデンシャヒーン あれそうです
There's
よ
always
ア
a
ンラック
story
ですよ
behind a big win, and like you say,
自分もツイ
Louis
ッター
Saez
情報で
was
知ったん
better
ですけ
known
ど
for the rider of Maximum Security. Talking to Chad Summers this week, you know, he rates him as one of the top jockeys in the US, and yeah, he's proved it here. And this horse, like I say, I think has got a bigger and better targets ahead of him now, and like you say, it's a nice way to break your Grade 1 win. And yeah, I think Louis Saez, like I say, he's got maximum security. He's now had this horse.
俺言ったやないですかだから
yeah,
あれで
Big day for him. Well done to
住
Michael
職は実は
Stidham.
呼ばれてるんじゃねえかっつって
A very successful trainer. I think he's won 40-odd graded stakes
そう
over
ですね
there
勝ったんだ
in
けど
America.
故
And he
障
seems
発
pretty
生
honest, this
で
horse, for all he wears the headgear, but headgear is a lot more common in America.
Yeah,
確か
and
ね
you
さっき
you
ツイ
see
ッ
it
ターの
here
トレン
with
ドでね出てた
a lot of the trainers have adapted it to on the dirt here. I think it's more just to help the horses concentrate, give them what we call make them a little bit more streetwise and have that race sharpness where they travel a lot better. You know, that headgear, you know, they only look like small cut blinkers anyway, so yeah, look, they're quite flashy with the Godolphin emblem on the front of them, so it's yeah, I think it's more just to help the horse, as in make them a little bit sharper for dirt racing, and like you say, they're common in the US anyway.
Well, they might get a little fine because you're not meant to take off headgear. I'm actually glad they have because it's much prettier to see the horse's face. I love a flashy chestnut. But yeah, you're not meant to do that, are you? After Furness went berserk and ran up the...
Yeah, I believe so. I think there is a fine, but
they won't care.
pretty sure they just won
6 million.
6 million, so it won't be Louis Saez that gets fined anyway.
No, it won't be. Louis Saez is 28 years old. He's a native of Panama, which makes him the second native of Panama to win the Dubai World Cup after our very own Fernando Harris.
Yeah, Fernando, yeah. I think he was about 18 when he won it.
He was.
Fernando, so yeah, there are a lot of top-class jockeys that come out of Panama.
あれはね道中でした
The
けど
one that springs to the top of my mind is Lafitte Pincay.
Yes.
One of the greatest jockeys of all time, and yeah, I think they have a great jockey academy out there, and there's a lot of Panamanians that ride in the States. I believe. I was actually talking to someone the other day. I think it's is it part of the US now? I think they have a US passport. I think
最後の
Panama.
直線で
I'm not sure, to be
当時
honest.
村本
Oh,
ジョッ
sorry,
キーっていたん
tell a
で
lie.
すよ
It's Puerto Rico. I'm thinking.
Puerto
of.
Rico.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry.
Panama's a place I really fancy visiting. I
なん
should go
と
there
か
and make
で
a documentary
宝塚
on
取ったんかな
on
あの人
the success of jockeys from Panama. These are really great scenes. Well done to the Michael Stidham team. His assistant Hilary Pidham has been here all week. They've had a big team on the ground. I understand that the rider that's
一応見えん
been
よう
with
に
this
幕みたい
horse,
な
Mystic
こ
Guide in the Morning, is
うす
actually
るんです
new
よ
to their team.
貼るんですよでも
So
普通
they've
に
changed
下
up
から
a
見
few
えるんで
things
すね
for this
幕の
win
下から
Certainly
here
works.
in Dubai.
で
be the biggest win of Michael
もう
Stidham's
馬
career,
は
wouldn't
も
it,
う
by a
起
long
き上が
shot?
れないんですよ。
Definitely.
で
It's
もすごい呼
look,
吸が荒くて
it's
こう
announced
お
him
腹がすごい
on the
動いてるん
world
ですよね
stage.
それで。
Look, like you say
で
beforehand, that Michael
10
Stidham
位
had
と思
never
われる
travelled anything
人
out of North
が
America. I'm
注
sure
射
it's
みたいなプシュッてやるんですよ。
a household name
そしたらそ
in
の
New York and in that
呼
area.
吸で
But
こう
you
動い
know,
て
as
る
far as
のがだん
across
だん
the
だんだん
world
小さ
now,
くなって
we we'll all remember the name Michael
もうめっ
Stidham,
ち
and
ゃすごい
certainly
重かった
Mystic
ですよ。
Guide will go down.
その瞬
And a
間っ
lot
ていう
more
か
people
な
will follow his career, and I'm sure it's going on to bigger and better things, you know, once he ships back to the States.
Yeah, because he is only
もう
4.
俺の
I
近くに
suppose
おっ
they're
たお
the
っちゃんは
most
ねもう
obvious
その
end of
馬に
season
拍手を
target
送ってま
for
した
him now is the Breeders' Cup Classic,
うん
and
よ
it's
く頑張っ
which
たっ
races
て
they
感じ
choose
で
to go to on the way.
Yeah, interestingly enough, if they do keep him in training, that is, you know, he's a full horse still. I believe they will.
そう実際あるん
He's
です
still
よ
only
俺目の
4-year-old,
前
but
で
he's a lightly
見た
raced.
こ
I
と
think,
が
like
そう
you
いう
say,
瞬
Michael
間
Stidham's
と
been
か
very good with race planning
馬
this
が
horse, and
最後し
you know,
行
the
きたい
bigger
瞬間
targets
っていう
are towards sort of the back end of the year, aren't they? Anyway, in America, so I think this horse will be freshened up. They're not, you know, they're not shy of backing them up pretty quick, but I think his main target
で
will
そ
be
の
a
後
tilt
は
at the
もう
Breeders'
何
Cup
人もの
Classic, I'm
人で
pretty
引っ
sure.
張って
Yeah, nice places to
引き
aim
ず
at
っ
along the
て
way. Perhaps
あ
maybe
の
find
バンジャ
something
も
at
してました
Saratoga, taking the Whitney or something like that. These jockeys are very nice. I think I'd be a bit inclined to say, look, I'm carrying
普
a
通に
saddle.
ね
I've just won
競馬
$6
場とかウ
million.
ィンズでね
Because in America,
でなん
Of
か
course,
普通にいそうな感じのおっ
he's
ちゃん
looking
っす
for
よ
someone to
一
come
人
out
で
and
来
collect
て
it.
る
I'll go and pick it up if he gives me 10% of
You
his
get a
winnings.
cut, yeah. So look at the way the race unfolded. And Mikel Barcelona was a man possessed. He was getting to the front on hypothetical if it killed him, and he
そう
got
なん
there
ですよもうあ
ahead
の
of
瞬
Capizano.
間
Yeah,
が
but
ね
I
あの
look
注射プシュッと
very
して
good
から
tactics.
どんどんどんどんそ
Whether
の
they led
呼
us to
吸が
believe
ね
that
浅くな
Capizano
っ
was
ていくん
going to
ですよ
go, and
あれ
then
は
we
ち
were
ょ
all
っと
going to
きつい
ignore
ですよ
Mikel.
見てる側は
Mikel's been dominant from the front, and Salam's horses like to be in that position. Royston
そう
was
で
wanting to
最
go
終レ
forward
ー
as
ス
well, but the
最終
problem he
だ
had then, he
最終レー
set
スでしたね
Capizano
あの
alight,
時
trying to get back off Mikel's heels. I'm pretty sure Mikel would have liked
最初
Royston
はあ
to
れ
be
です
a
よ
length
馬も
further
本当
back
痛みで
and take the rest of the field
暴
kind
れ
of
てる
out
ん
of
で
the
すよ
race
めっ
at
ちゃ
that
暴れて
point.
るんですよ
But you could see Louis Suarez was aware to what was going on in
だ
front
け
of him.
どもう
Travelled
そこ
supremely
も
well.
落ち着く
You know, he
落ち
got
着
very
い
little
て
kickback, if any.
落ち着いて
And he was always in a good position.
まあでも呼
Adrian
吸はずっ
Rees
と
was,
荒いままって感
was
じで
placed perfectly well on Salute the Soldier. He was following the winner. And, you know, I don't believe there was any...
まず
it's very hard to
村
say
本
there's
ジョッ
any
キーって
hard
名前が
luck
出て
stories
くる
in
時
there,
点
you know.
でもう
Yeah, I
相
think
当
it was a
昔で
pretty
分かり
fairly
ました
run race. Title Ready struggling out the back at the moment in the white blinkers. Jesus' team has picked up sixth, which is a nice check, but never really looked like landing a blow whatsoever. Chua Wizard has
さ
run
あ
a
というわ
great
けで
race.
も
He's in the
うぼ
white
ちぼち
silks.
自分も寝ます
Capizano is now starting to drop back
で
through them. He's not had an easy run.
は
I
い
don't think that.
配
There you
信
go. There's your
今
hard
日
luck story.
こ
Great
こまで
collection.
にしたいと
yeah,
思い
he
ま
had
す
to. Yeah, but I'm not sure whether that was from Pat's doing or whether the horse had
まあ
just got
初め
on.
ての方
He's
と
quite
常
an
連
awkward
さん
horse
と
anyway, so
ま
you
あ
know
コ
the
メン
head
トしていただい
carrier
たんで
to
ね
speak to Pat
ま
afterwards, but
あ助かり
Chua
ました
Wizard looked the first one beat at the turn, and he's plugged on gamely, you know, to,
はい
to take second.
たまに
Good
ね
performance from the
あ
Japanese
の
horse because
最近はもう
we
ゲ
kind
ー
of
ムぐらい
half
し
wrote
か
him
やる
off.
こと
Well,
ないんで
I certainly did. You
あ
felt
の
he was
体力と気力があるときにたまに
you know, the
ゲーム
running
の配
Saudi
信
was
とか
very
もして
good,
る
but
んでは
it
い
was all gone
また
from the
よか
top
っ
of
た
the
らよろし
straight
くお願いします
when Louis Size
あ
let
と
go
ま
of
あ
his
競
horse's
馬
head.
も
He was
競馬配信も
he was
海
away
外の
and
競馬
gone,
配信も
and yeah,
はい
good performance.
また
Magny
や
Cause
り
has
たい
run
と
on
思い
really
ま
well
す
for
の
third.
で
That's the
ま
closest
たよ
Andre
かったらよ
Faber's
ろし
come
く
to
お
winning
願
the
いし
Dubai
ま
World
す
Cup. His previous best effort in it,
で
I believe, was
長い
sixth.
時間ですね今日もありがとうございま
And
し
nice
た
little salute
で
there
は
from winning
今
jockey
日
Louis
中継行ってきます
Saez, who's
では高
yeah,
松宮
just
記
had
念
this horse in the right position, the right way around. He had a
皆
winning
さん
horse. He's
当て
not
ま
the
しょ
best
う
looking
自分
horse,
を
is he, in the
四
world?
日
He's
市
got
特
an
別
engine.
当て 当てます。
Oh, and he's not flashy.
で、
He's
あり
not
がとうござい
over
ま
big.
した。
He's quite lightly
レキ
framed.
さんは初めてじゃない、あ
He's
なた
not
は。
typical American dirt horses that are quite imposing when you look
はい、あり
at
がとう
them.
ございます。で、
You know,
これで
so
失
he's
礼いたします。
and hence probably why he gets himself a little bit, you know, buzzy before the race.
We can get some more fallout with Stephen.